week on NASCAR Race Up. We're just as excited to be back racing as you, and there's no better place to talk than Talladega. We'll deconstruct the carnage and have a must-watch Radioactive. Plus, we'll have an all-star lineup. Kevin Harvick, Alex Bowman, Jamie McMurray, Cole Berg, and Chad Knaus will join us. That's all this week on NASCAR Race Up. Weeknights, 6 p.m. Eastern, only on FS1.
Oh, join us weeknights. You know, there's nothing like Talladega, and there's nothing like the Dega Pit Walk. Let's go down to Regan Smith to kick things off.
Well, Justin Haley here hanging out with his team as they step away from you. Big day tomorrow. It's your birthday. You going to celebrate with a win this afternoon?
We hope so. This Colleague Racing leaf filter gut protection car was fast, so we'll see. Didn't qualify quite what we wanted to. Fit's still good, but we're lining up with my teammate, Ross Chastain, so we'll see how the day is. It's pretty hot out there. Going to be hot inside the race car, so.
Fit's really good. Cheer up. It won't be that bad. Matt.
Regan, it may be his birthday, but my eyes are on this guy, Brandon Jones, third in the truck, second here a year ago in Xfinity car. How much fun for you is it racing here?
Well, I didn't really get the starting position I was kind of thinking I was going to, but looking
It's not where you start.
Exactly right. That's what I told these guys. I'm like, it doesn't matter where we're going to start today. Looking up through here, we've got our teammates actually pretty close by, so that's our plan. We're going to try to get with our teammates here kind of early on and go with them. Who knows what's going to happen, but we've been closer a couple times, so there's only one left to go, which is first, so we'll see what happens.
What did Houdini say, Regan? Friends? Everybody wants them.
Especially today. Lots of friends here for Ryan Seeger, and now he's taking pictures. We're photobombing him a little bit. Hey, close to a home race for you. A lot of family here. What would a win mean at one of your home tracks?
Huge. That's what the plan is and the goal, and hopefully we stay up front and be there at the end. Just it's unpredictable here, so just want to take it in right now, and we're running fourth and been good all year, so hopefully we get a win today.
Have a good day. Matt?
Oh, the 00 back here in the grid. So, you've got to win. You know where you're going to be in the playoffs. So can you throw caution out the window and be aggressive today?
I think that's what you always do at Talladega. It's just a matter of if you make it to the end or not, and if you're out front. So I think our J Company's Mustang was pretty good. It's just a matter of, how the cards fall.
All right, Regan.
Tyler Reddick over here taking selfies with people now. I saw it. What are you putting on your feet down there? It's really shiny.
Heat shields, man. Come on, you know what that is.
I know what it is, but the viewers don't. We want to tell them what they are.
Well, as you know, as most fans know, you're going pretty fast around here at Talladega. You're mostly wide open all the time, and the motor's got a little bit of heat, so you try and keep your feet a little bit cool and keep from getting blisters, I guess. I don't know, something like that.
All right, no blisters for Tyler Reddick. Matt?
Oh, and I saw this kid run go-karts back in the day. His dad, always a stylish dresser. You need to dress more like him.
I know, man.
You're excited about today, up front.
Yeah, super excited. Can't thank Panini enough and all my SS Greenlight Racing guys. We got a great car. It's pretty cool having all our guests here. NASCAR Racing Experience teamed up with Panini, and it's just really cool to see what the race fans and just the feel. It's Talladega, you know what I mean? So we got a fast car. We're just going to try to be smart all day, and you got to stay up front. Daytona didn't work out for us. We tried to lag back and go to the rear and see if it worked out, but it didn't. So can't thank Pure, all our partners. Let's go win this thing, man. I'm excited.
There you go. Shannon?
Thanks so much, Matt. All those guys are trying to take pictures, and we're just rolling up on them. Time for Stump the Mac, and you all can play along at home as well. I ask these guys questions, race-related or related to the town, and they try to answer it. Jamie, you're first. Name the original name of the Talladega Superspeedway when it opened in 1969. What was the original name?
Talladega Superspeedway?
It was not Talladega Superspeedway, but good answer.
Of course you're going to know.
Alabama International Motor Speedway.
Nice job. Do we get a point for Larry here?
Just because Larry was around then does not count.
1989. Okay, so prior to the start of the race in 1986, what did a fan steal?
The pace car.
Can you believe
I knew that one.
You got to look at the video. If you have not seen the video at home, it is hilarious. He stole the pace car and drove it around.
He was having a good day, and it went bad in a hurry.
It did. So it's a nickname of an item of clothing that you'll find in the infield of Talladega. It's a mixture between jeans and shorts.
Jorts.
There you go. Do you own a pair of those?
I bet you have a pair of jorts. Do you have any jorts?
Different colors.
Different colors. All right, so we're in Alabama, right?
Right.
You're an Alabama fan.
I am.
So we thought we would recruit someone to help us with this last question. Take a look right there and listen up.
All right.
Hi, Larry. Coach Saban here. Here's your final Stump the Mac question. Name the first team we beat with me being the head coach at Alabama. Good luck and roll Tide.
The first team they beat?
Yes.
Oh, I was thinking national championship would have been Texas.
Nope. First team they ever beat. He was in 2007.
I think it was a small college. I'm going to go, it's nowhere near it, but I'm going to say Western Carolina.
It was vacated, but it was Western Carolina.
I am starstruck that Nick Saban said my name.
Thank you to Coach Saban and, of course, to Josh Maxson over at the SID over at Alabama for making that happen for Larry McReynolds. By the way, our college football coverage will start in September. We have our own national champion coach joining us, Urban Meyer. We're very excited about that, as we are with this race.
Roll Tide, roll.
I feel like we just
go ahead, tell them Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
There you go. Big, bad, and bold. Those are your words that Larry Mack used. Let's go trackside opening ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats as the Alabama National Guard presents our nation's colors. Please remain standing as Billy Irvin of Alabama Raceway Ministries offers today's invocation.
Father in heaven, we thank you for the downpour of your love for each person on this beautiful day. We ask for your blessings of comfort to the Brenda Jackson family. We pray that you would bring comfort and peace to Dale Jr., Kelly, JR Motorsports, and their team during this troubled time. Father, we ask that you would provide protection for our competitors today, and thank you for holding those who are fighting for our freedoms in the military today. Amen.
Please welcome patriotic performing artist Amia Nico, accompanied by signer Jocelyn Smoot, senior student at Alabama Institute for Deaf and Blind, as they perform our national anthem.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Perfect day for racing down at Talladega. When we get back from break, Adam Alexander, Joey Logano, and Kevin Harvick on the call. It's Dega, baby. It's coming up next.
Fox NASCAR is live in Central Alabama. Today, the NASCAR Xfinity Series competing at Talladega Superspeedway for the 28th time. And what a gorgeous afternoon it is as these NASCAR stars get suited up and ready to go for 300 miles. Welcome into the broadcast booth, everybody, with a couple of winners here at Talladega. Kevin Harvick, Joey Logano. I'm Adam Alexander. And it's nice to see that Kevin is repping the hometown colors. Is that a tie you're wearing today?
I wore this for Larry Mack. I figured I'd represent the Alabama colors today, so why not, right?
And Larry Mack always says to me, at Talladega, if you're in it, you can win it. Could we see some surprises here this afternoon?
Well, I think you could, and a lot of that is going to come down to carnage and how many cars are still running at the end. And I think as you look at this particular race, I think it could differ a little bit from Daytona just because you have some aggressive guys that are up in the front of the field. You have Ross Chastain and Brett Moffitt. I like Landon Castle back in that 4-car deep in the field. So hopefully these guys can push and shove a little bit and put on a great show.
He's just kind of handicapping this thing, isn't he?
I think Kevin just said it best. You got drivers out there that don't really have much to lose, and that means you're going to go for it. If you're waiting in line and maybe you're 5th or 6th in line, they might go for it because this is their big shot to win the race.
When I think about plate racing, I think about Logano and how aggressive he always is. But Kevin here, what is that balance of patience but then knowing when to go?
Well, I think when you look at the biggest differences from Daytona, you have some of our main guys that have won races now. They're locked into the playoffs, so they're going to be willing to take a few more chances. And I think at the beginning of the race, you have 2 short stages, and you have to try to position yourself up at the front of the field. So it'll be interesting to see the pit strategy and all the things that happen at the beginning of the race and just how aggressive these guys are.
That is crazy. Track position will play a big role today.
Oh, it'll be key, and especially if a caution comes out right before the end of a stage. You're going to see some cars stay out trying to get those stage points, and others try to set themselves up for the second stage or the end of the race and get in that track position, because it's so important to be able to get to the lead, but also to stay out of that big crash at the end of this thing.
We talk about track position. The guy that's got the perfect spot to start out on the pole, Michael Annett. He won earlier this year at Daytona. We'll see if he can do it again. Let's go trackside for the command.
Race fans, it's time for the most famous words in motorsports. Here to give the command, please welcome our Grand Marshal, MoneyLion CEO, D. Chaube.
Drivers, start your engines!
After a weekend off, it's time to do battle again. It's race day in Talladega, Alabama.
It's race day here at Talladega. We just got done qualified in the top 10. Now we're walking to the driver's meeting. Hopefully you guys tune in. It's going to be an exciting one.
Fox. Welcome to the most uncomfortable, treacherous ride of your life.
Sparks are going to fly.
Hey, Ben, here we go. Trouble on the track.
This track doesn't care who you are or what you've done.
Here is the checkered flag. Michael Annett. Second career victory, Christopher Bell.
But if you can survive the chaos,
They may crash at any moment right now.
and absolute mayhem, then you have earned its respect. This is Talladega. Make sure it remembers your name.
I love Talladega. It's a special place. And we're all set to go green in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. It's their 9th race of 2019. So many great stories to tell when you look at the first part of this season. And one of the drivers we always need to focus on, Ross Chastain, because this is the busiest man in NASCAR, bar none. It doesn't matter if it's a Friday night, a Saturday afternoon, a Sunday. This guy is racing everything. And today, he's in the Xfinity Series for the 6th time here in Talladega, Alabama. Let's go from the driver's seat with a kid out of Florida. Kevin?
Hey, Ross, this is the Fox Sports booth. My biggest question for you today is you're with a different team, you've got a different spotter, and you do that a lot because you race a lot. What are the biggest things that you have to get used to early in this race that we wouldn't know and the fans wouldn't know?
Man, not a whole lot. Colleague Racing does a great job to prepare this car. Everything fits for exactly how I'd like it. Brett up on the roof talks just like he's your buddy and you're sitting on the back porch, so there's not a whole lot I have to do other than listen to what they say.
Hey Ross, it's Logano up here. My question to you is, how aggressive do you plan on being? We've seen you race very aggressively when you're in a fast race car with a shot to win, maybe even against Kevin one time. How aggressive do you plan on being today?
Oh man. I mean, yeah, you have to try to win. I fight for my career every lap I'm on track. I don't care what I'm in. I drive it as hard as I can. So I get some flack for that. I definitely make a lot of mistakes, but the biggest thing is just I can go to bed at night knowing that I raced, and that's what this sport, us as drivers, these 40 guys out here, however many, 38, we need to race. We need to put on a show, and I feel like that's the best way I can be in this sport a long time and get a lot of good rides, even though some people don't think so.
All right, buddy, we'll be watching you put on a show, and we appreciate you talking to us while you're trying to save gas there. Good luck.
You got to be aggressive with everything. Nutrient Ag Solutions wants to lead the field, and that's what we're planning on doing.
He and his teammates swept the stages at Daytona. You know those cars are going to be fast today. The green flag when we return on FS1. 37 NASCAR Xfinity Series drivers have rolled off the pit lane. Pace laps are underway as we anticipate the green flag. Before we go racing here at Talladega, we hear from our pit reporters, and we start with Regan Smith. Hey, Regan.
Well, good afternoon, Adam. You guys talked off the top of the show about who would be aggressive, who wouldn't be aggressive, and why they would or wouldn't be that way on the racetrack. Well, one of the drivers I can assure you is going to be extremely aggressive is that of Tyler Reddick. I asked him what he would do if this race goes single file towards the end and he's not out front. He said he didn't care if he had to clip cars and spin them out to get back to the front. He would do whatever he could. 5 straight top 5s for him. He's got plenty of points to get into the playoffs. He wants that win and that dash for cash now. Matt Yoakum.
Regan, I think the surprise today could come from inside row 5. Rookie Chase Briscoe continues to impress. A road course win last fall. Today chasing his first super speedway win. And so he sought out the advice of an old retired restrictor plate racer who had 7 wins here combined in Xfinity and Cup, Dale Earnhardt Jr. And he told him, when there's momentum and energy, don't waste it, go with it. Be disciplined when you're making your decisions. Don't hesitate. He said, you know what? Patience, it never seemed to work for me. Keep an eye on the 98. Guys?
Matt, that's great advice, but hard to execute that plan. Let's take a look at the drivers that are going for an additional $100,000 today. Custer, Reddick, Allgaier, Cindric are qualifiers in the dash for cash. They don't have to win. They just have to finish in front of the other 3 and a little bit of a Saturday bonus, huh?
Well, that $100,000 means so much to these race teams. So those guys all want to win that for themselves and their team because it's a huge help.
Let's hear from Brett Moffitt, reigning Truck Series champion, making his first Xfinity start today.
I appreciate you driving our car. It's a real honor. I don't have anything real inspirational other than to finish first, you must first finish. So let's be there at the end.
Man, cool. Thank you, guys. I appreciate the opportunity as well. So.
I'm excited that Brett Moffitt is in this race because, you know, we talk so much about, you know, how we raced at Daytona, and I think he's one of those guys that's going to be aggressive in trying to make something happen. He's not here for any other reason than to win this race, and when you look at him driving that car, I think it says a lot about the relationship that they have with Junior Motorsports from his truck team and the system that Chevrolet has put in to see him in this car. So I'm looking forward because Brett's a really aggressive racer.
Let's take a look at our forward performance track facts as we wait for the green flag. Go on board with Cole Custer, our most recent winner. Talladega wins by 4 drivers. Some big names on this list, including Old Logano back in 15, driving the 22 car. Tyler Reddick starting on the front row.
Keep that thing clean. We'll try to get out front, stay out front here, and we'll try to control this thing. Keep Randall posted on what you're going to need here. Have a good, safe day. Remember not to lock bumpers. All right.
Oh, here we go.
The lock bumpers, you have to bring it up anytime you see an Xfinity race here. You can bump. You just can't stay on that back bumper of another car, and if you do, both of you will get black flagged and have to come down pit road for a drive-through. So it's very important to, you know, you want to be aggressive. You want to be able to push to move your line ahead. If you get a little too aggressive with it, you're going to get in trouble.
Well, the best guy at it sitting in the booth, so I can tell you that. You were really good at it.
Wayne Otten, the series director, told us yesterday, we're glad Logano's up there with you, so we don't have to worry about policing that nearly as closely. It's the 9th race of the year for the NASCAR Xfinity Series, 28th visit to Talladega. Front row, Michael Annett on the pole, first career time. He's led him to the green, along with Tyler Reddick. We're racing in Alabama.
You see a very even front row taking off. That's because the 2 cars behind the front row were able to lock on and give a good push to get going. That's okay on restarts to give that push to get rolling. And at this point here is where you're going to see the line start to form up, and whichever line gets the most organized first will probably push ahead.
Yeah, and right now it looks like that outside line is the one that's going to get organized first, but as we've seen in the past with this particular race, you never really know which lane is going to be the one that is the fastest, but definitely going to be who gets formed first, like you say.
Right here you see those 2 cars able to break free, almost as Ryan Siegs gets to the outside of Michael Annett. that'll keep that 2 wide going for a while.
Sieg in that outside lane, driving the 39. That team based out of Tucker, Georgia. This is kind of like a home game for them. They're not too far away from their race shop. Slides down into that bottom groove. White, black, red, number 8 in the outside lane. We talked about him, Brett Moffitt.
There you see Greg Galding in the 08 and the Panini sponsorship, and those guys have done a great job at both super speedway races, qualifying well. And I heard you guys talking in qualifying about how his strategy of being patient at Daytona didn't really work for him, and they were going to be more aggressive today, trying to race up front and keep their track position after everything that happened in Daytona.
And Skiddo, a word from Matt on John Hunter Nemechek. They're on the move early.
Started at the back due to an issue with the right rear tire. It had a small hole and it was going flat, so due to the rules they had to start at the back. John Hunter told me he was hoping we're going to see the type of racing we are now, a lot of 2 and 3 wide early, so he can pick them off one at a time and slowly work his way back to the front, unlike Daytona where we saw everyone go single file.
He's already in the top 15, trying to do what his Dad Joe did here on 2 different occasions. That's fine. Victory lane in the Xfinity Series. What do you say we go 3 wide?
Yeah, and the one thing I will say with John Hunter Nemechek having to start at the back, and Joey, you tell me if I'm wrong, but it always seems like that initial run when you're getting that momentum from the back of the pack, it always seems like you can make more moves and use that momentum from the back of the pack.
There's times that's so much fun when you get back there and you have a huge run. You say, where do I go? There's so many places to, and cars in the way sometimes. And if you're able to carry that momentum, it can carry you a long ways. That's the fun part about Talladega. It's wider than Daytona. You know, you can fit 4 wide around this racetrack, not very comfortably, but you can do it, and it gives those big runs that you're able to form somewhere to go to make these passes. So you're able to pass maybe 10 cars in a lap. The thing is, you can also lose 10 cars in a lap as well.
You see Tyler Reddick doing a lot of lane changing up there in the front, and early in the race
here. A little bit here. He's letting you get out front. Then 2 back. Come back to the bottom. Bottom lane's closest here. 3/4 back. Half. 39 clearing your mirror. 2x2 half back behind him.
And that spotter is so key. When you're the leader, you know, you're trying to look at where everyone is in your mirror, but you can only really see the 2 cars that are directly behind you. The run is formed from 3 cars, 4 cars, 5 cars back, and that's where the spotter is able to see. And I always say, paint a picture. Tell me exactly what's going on so I can imagine that in my mind and know what's going to happen before it happens. That is the key part of trying to maintain a lead here at a super speedway.
Yeah, and as the leader, you know, with Tyler Reddick in the front, his main responsibility is to listen to that spotter, and he can kind of control in his mirror that car that's directly behind him and see those front cars in those lanes. So his job is to not get too far out front, move up in front of the lane that's coming to try to push him out and stall their momentum. So there's definitely a lot that the leader can do from his mirror, but it's only for those cars that are directly behind him.
Michael Annette, we said, started on the pole. 20th after 4 laps. What's that all about, Regan?
Well, actually, Adam, I wanted to touch on the spotters that we were just talking about. The 2 car of Tyler Reddick has Derek Nealon spotting for him right now on that race car. He was very adamant at the start of the season. He wanted Derek Nealon, who spots for a Ganassi car on the Cup side of things. Not normal to see spotters go from organization to organization like that. He was adamant about it. The team said, okay, you can have who you want. It's paying off right now.
Boy, that chemistry in communication so important, especially here.
2x2, 1 back.
Yeah, and you know, it's important for the driver, and we were talking before the race, the 8 car has the same spotter every week, and it's as important for that crew chief nowadays to get the information, especially on the 8 car when you have so many different drivers, as to what is happening with their car, what they see, and that's the guy that the crew chief trusts as much as the driver in getting the information that he needs to adjust the car and where they're at.
And right there we just saw an interesting move. Justin Allgaier just went to the outside of Greg Galding, out there by himself. It's a risky move to make. He was hoping he had a few more friends behind him, and maybe the lanes move up to where he can get a draft and get back in line, which I think he's going to be able to. But that was a very risky move, showing how Justin Allgaier really wants to get to the front right now.
Chastain looking for the lead in that outside lane, now down to the bottom, looking inside of Reddick. This is for the top spot.
And what Ross Chastain just did right there, he did kind of a fake. He went to the outside and he juked him and went back to the bottom to get to the inside. Once you get to the inside, then the race is on. But trying to break that plane and get to where you can side draft the other car and get to the lead is key.
Trouble front straightaway as they come across the start-finish line. That's the 19 of Brandon Jones. Second here a season ago, third at Daytona earlier this year, and was 10th when his Toyota got away from him.
Here you see him down on the bottom.
And that's easy to do right there. That very bottom lane of the tri-oval is a lot less banking than one lane up. And when you hang that seam like that, that car starts to unload the back, and he just wound up in a dead spot right there and just spun out.
So much room here on the apron as you come across the start-finish line. He's able to save it, keep it down low. Doesn't look like there's much damage here.
It doesn't look too bad. And you know, when I was talking to my teammate Brad Keselowski after Daytona, he said these Xfinity cars were harder to drive than the Cup cars with the amount of downforce that's on them. You see how much they're all moving around through there. That tri-oval, a lot of time, is the most treacherous place to be.
Look at this drone angle.
I'm so happy we have that drone. I love those drone shots, and you know, I think as you talk about that tri-oval, you know, you have to get if you're going to run that bottom lane, you have to get below that seam and get that car set and try to keep that steering wheel set in the same direction all the way through the tri-oval, because you will have to start chasing it through there, and we've seen as many wrecks happen in that tri-oval as anywhere else.
We only had 4 cautions at Daytona, already won, and we're 8 laps in here at Talladega. Not our final bit of NASCAR here at Talladega, 4:30 Eastern Time on Fox. It's Cup qualifying for tomorrow's Geico 500. Justin Haley going to be qualifying later, doing double duty this weekend. He's going to make his Cup debut tomorrow as he celebrates his 20th birthday.
That's a big weekend. That's a lot going on in just a couple days. And Kevin, you know how it is when you run these double duty races and you got to run Xfinity, you get out of a race, you get ready to qualify for your first Cup race. There's so much going on. It's hard to keep everything separated on what's going on from car to car.
Especially this weekend, because they're drastically different in the way that they drive and the runs that you get.
Haley nearly won the championship last year in the Gander Outdoors Truck Series. The man that got the title, making his first Xfinity start of the year today, Brett Moffitt. So who is this guy? Well, he's from Iowa. Knows all about racing throughout the Midwest. Got a home win there last year in truck competition. 10 K&N wins. Likes to be a part of the outdoors. And has enjoyed great success at all levels of NASCAR, but no doubt the highlight coming last November when he claimed the championship at the Homestead Miami Speedway, changed teams in the offseason, and I think his talent has been on full display in the last 18 months or so.
Well, I'm going to show my age a little bit here and a little bit of his, because it was 4 or 5 years ago when Michael Waltrip Racing and Brett Moffitt was in that Cup car, and I remember racing him for a top 5 spot at Atlanta. So Brett has definitely got the talent. He just needs the right situations and the right things to happen for him to get back up to the Cup level, because I believe he has the ability to do it, and I think today will be one of those scenarios that he can showcase his talent for sure.
There were about 10 cars that pitted here under caution. One of them, Christopher Bell. What's the story, Regan?
Well, Adam, they hit pit road twice here under this caution. The first time for fuel, they started to work on his radio. He's having radio trouble inside that race car. This problem dates back to yesterday. They had to cut their first drafting run short when we had the big pack out there because of a radio problem. Evidently, it's still not fixed. A second visit to pit road. Hopefully, they got it fixed this time.
Oh, man, that's frustrating.
That's the worst. And can you pick a worse racetrack to have radio problems? No. I don't think you can. And, you know, when you have an issue like that in practice, typically a big team like a Joe Gibbs Racing would probably change everything. You know, the whole radio harness, the radios, probably the helmet, anything that has to do with that radio communication. And if they still don't have it fixed,
it's going to be a long day.
You're on quite the witch hunt at that point.
Coming off a frustrating night when they crashed at Richmond, finished outside the top 10. Tyler Reddick started on the front row, led the first 6 laps. Then Ross Chastain took over, has led the last 5, and he will be on point, taking the inside lane for the restart. We get it as we complete lap 11.
His help is tighter. Stay back up on off him. Your help is 1 back straight line. Back down to him when you see his door. Right down tight. There you go. Roll up off. Keep the momentum going here. Make him chase you. 39's coming to you with a push from the 18. Your help's tightest. Stay up off him here. Stay up off him. Let the run roll. Let the run roll. Let the run roll. Still inside. Clear, clear, clear. 39's not clear yet behind you. 2x2, 1 back. Drag for me here. Drag 1.5. 1.5. Back to 1 here. Safety slide back in it. 39's clear in the mirror. Half back. Next car behind him, half back behind him. They're 2x2. Bottom lane is tight.
When you hear the spotter say drag, he's actually telling you to drag the brake a little bit to back up to that car that's in second so that you guys don't get too far out in front of the pack to let those cars form that momentum and drive by you.
A lot of coaching on the radio. What's the balance of that? What do you need as a driver? That's interesting.
There's a tight side traffic going on right now. It's hard for me to answer that question, but these guys are racing so hard. You need to rely on that spotter. And there's times I tell my spotter, TJ, I say, just tell me what to do. Just tell me. And sometimes you need that as a driver. You want the information, but sometimes if your spotter is good enough to really understand the draft and understand why things are happening, just tell me what to do.
Austin Cindric starting to make some noise in that outside lane. White and green 22. Sieg slides up in front of him. Tyler Reddick on point.
And this race is looking so different than what we saw in Daytona. Daytona, everyone went single file against the wall. Here, we're 3 wide, looking at sometimes 4 wide.
And we got 20 cars in that lead pack. That means there's a lot of energy up there right now, Kevin.
Well, especially when they're 3 wide like that, and you see that middle lane, and usually that is the one that when there's enough cars formed on both sides of it, and as we see it go back to 3 cars, that's when the middle lane kind of dies down. But if there's even amount of cars, especially if you're in the middle of the pack and kind of in that middle lane, there's a lot of energy coming forward that you can utilize.
Look at that outside lane. The 36.
Not the safest place. You're
Josh
right.
Williams. I mean, you talk about underdogs. He's making a play. A couple of ARCA wins for him, driving for Mario Gosselin.
That's what Talladega is all about. You know, you're going to see the heavy hitters up front like you normally do, but every now and again you're going to see the underdog come into the picture and maybe grab a stage win, maybe grab the race win. That all can happen when you come to Talladega.
Chase Briscoe, one of the drivers we talked about pre-race, 15th right now, Matt.
16 years ago, Timmy Fidoa finished 3rd in this very event, spotting for the 98 of Briscoe, and he told him right now, let's stay true to the bottom. With so much movement in lane 2 and lane 3, we might be able to make a lot of movement here.
Well, right now, there's not enough cars on that bottom lane to make enough movement as we see the front part of that line shift down, and then it takes that bottom lane and puts it in the right spot. So, you know, it's just a matter of trying to time the lane changing and the momentum, and there's just a lot going on that's really hard to time out right to keep yourself up front.
Sometimes it feels like when you're going down the highway and you're sitting in a traffic jam, you get in the left lane, that one goes backwards, you get back to the right lane, that one goes backwards, you just feel like you can't pick the right lane. Sometimes that's Talladega.
You know a good sign of what we're going to see here today? The fact that those drivers that pitted are already right back inside the top 10. The track is fast today. We're going side by side on FS1.
Look around. Everything is bigger. Bigger shoes to fill. Bigger dreams to chase. And for this big life, we built the all-new Ram 1500. Everything you need in a truck. And things you never imagined. For those who are always on to bigger things.
Get an average $10,976 in total values on select all-new 2019 Ram 1500 models in dealer stock.
We know if you found one crappie, you may have found 1,000. We know the joy of getting your boots back in the mud. We know the journey can be more rewarding than the destination. We know the great outdoors. We love the great outdoors. Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Stop by today for huge savings on the gear you need and the brands you trust. Plus, free 2-day shipping at BassPro.com and Cabela's.com.
When you book at Hilton.com, you get the price match guarantee. So if you find your room at a lower rate, Hilton is like, we're gonna match that rate and give you an extra 25% off. What would travel sites do if you found a different price? That's not my problem, it's your problem. Book at Hilton.com and get the Hilton price match guarantee.
Seeing the people at the racetrack that genuinely want to see you do well, that's what means the most to me.
the son of a legend trying to make a name for himself.
Talladega is unpredictable. We are going to crash at some point. One bad decision by a guy can ruin 25 other people's days as well. When you finally get in the car on Sunday, that's definitely a good time to lock in and start thinking about what's coming and what's ahead.
It's not the warrior who's never been knocked down that you should fear. No. It's the warrior who knows what it feels like to get hit. It keeps coming back for more.
You can't ask for anything more special than what we have here tonight.
It's going to be a great afternoon for racing. Yeah, man! 7 laps to go in our first stage for the NASCAR Xfinity Series here at Talladega. Why do I feel like every lap is the last one? This has been outrageous.
It's been awesome. The battle for the lead with Tyler Reddick, Ross Chastain has been so much fun. They're two of the most aggressive drivers on the racetrack. And to watch Ross try to stay out from behind him, to try to stay out of that bubble of air we talk about and try to form a run to get back to that quarter panel like he did right before the first caution came out.
I hope Reddick's rear view mirror doesn't break because Regan, he's using it a lot.
Well, he is using it a lot, Adam, and we talk about the importance of spotters. The mirror is the second most important thing in that race car. Take a listen to this radio that we just heard from Tyler Reddick.
Different on how I'm calling the runs, or now's the time to say it? No, you're good. My mirror's just shaking real bad. I can't see on the rearview mirror still. We tried to work on it, but I really can't. It's really hard to see, you know, what they're doing, like what Ross did there. So I'll try and work with it a little bit better.
As if things weren't already tough enough in speedway racing, if he doesn't have that mirror, that's one more tool he can't use. And I can tell you from experience that is not fun here. Joey, I know you've had that happen as well at different times.
Yeah, you want to be able to see what's going on, but we got a great view from where we are watching this race right now. I think we just saw Ross try to back up to Ryan Sieg to try to get a push, but his car is not very stable with the car right on his back bumper. This is going to be a fun last 5 laps at the end of the stage.
Cindric getting a run in the outside lane. Right behind him, Christopher Bell, and I thought he was going around right here.
Yeah, and you see the 23 car of John Hunter Nemechek offset to the left of that 20 with his left front headlight a little further over than the left rear headlight on the 20. That is not the place you want to push somebody. You want to make sure that you're offset to the right side of the car. So that's a pretty dangerous move.
Remember, Bell pitted because he had the problems with the radio, and here he is in a position to get some stage points with 5 to go. Going to be 4 this time by.
And he has fuel, I think, to stay out at the end of the stage, which would put him in some good track position as well. But man, we got a good battle. You see that Ross got underneath Tyler Reddick finally. Tyler's got Austin Cindric pushing him behind him. This is going to be a lot of fun right here.
Yeah, the only thing that makes me nervous about all this is the side drafting that Ross does in the middle of the corner when he goes up the racetrack. And if Tyler Reddick tries to come down at the same time, might make for a mess, but right now they're putting on a heck of a show, and it's fun to watch.
Yeah, you know how it is. You get someone right on your left rear quarter, and you get someone right behind you taking the air off that spoiler. That car gets really loose really fast.
Nemechek coming back through the field. Matt?
Just told his spotter that he's seeing the hand signals from the 20 of Christopher Bell about trying to lay off the 20 car, but he can't because he's getting such a push from the 7 of Allgaier.
Oh, he can. Those pedals are on hinges.
Just don't want to.
Allgaier, another one of those drivers that pitted under that first caution that will likely stay out end of stage 1 and gain some track position. But the question now, who's going to win this opening stage? Reddick and Chastain have combined to lead the first 22 laps, and there will be only 2 remaining this time around.
And that front row is just seesawing back and forth. One's ahead, the other one's ahead. All it's going to take is one good surge from either the inside or the outside to push a car ahead.
Remember, you can't lock bumpers, but you can bump And look at Allgaier on Nemechek. You're an expert. Is that the way to do it, Joey?
I mean, there really was no room for him to go in front of him.
Yeah, really. The hinges on the pedal aren't going to help that one.
Not that one.
Tap, tap, tap. Here's 7 Radio.
He's giving me the gap in front of the 23. The gap, Eddie, the gap. Okay, there is no gap. It's packed tight.
It's so tight that you can't see the car in front of him.
And that's so true, though. When you're tucked up right behind another car, all you see is rear spoiler. That is it. So you start pushing someone, you could push them right into a crash, and you would never even know. So it's key for the spotter sometimes to spot what's ahead of you as much as what's behind you. And you see Tyler Reddick able to break free.
2 laps to go. Stage number 1. Allgaier working with Nemechek, and watch the 18 there of Jeffrey Earnhardt come up and get in the left rear.
And that's that tri-oval again. When you split that seam, you have a hard time turning your car to the left because it feels so light. And I guarantee you, Jeffrey Earnhardt went above that seam and wound up just getting sucked up, and he didn't want to pull the wheel back to the left.
Well, here we come to on the final lap here at the end of the stage.
Yeah, our timing and scoring got out of sequence. This is, in fact, the final lap of the stage here. Reddick down low, slides back up in front of Cindric. Bell out of line.
And this is where it gets interesting. Everyone coming to the line, everyone just bails on each other, trying to get every spot that's there, and the runs really die out.
Nice work.
But those guys did a great job.
Opening stage to Tyler Reddick. Chastain was second. Cindric third. Sieg and Gaulding complete the top 5. For the driver from California, it's his second stage victory of 2019.
So Ryan, tell me what an average weekend when you're not at the racetrack looks like for you.
Usually, most of the time, going to the shop almost every day and coming home and playing with the kids.
Do you have any toy cars? Maybe.
Yeah.
I think heard
I
something about
got a 68 Camaro and.
Oh, 68, so it's a nice one too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That one's been redone. I can drive it as a daily driver.
So clearly you're a car guy. Everything evolves around cars, the shop, no matter what. That's where you're at.
Yes, car guy for sure.
So 3 kids. It's got to be busy around your house.
Very busy. It's chaos. We never have any time to relax or calm down. You know what I mean? Help from the kids, and then it's time for bed.
You're in there changing diapers all the time, doing the whole deal.
Doing the whole deal, yeah. She is very, very
Some dads, I'm not going to mention any of them trying to get out of changing the diapers. Well, that's awesome, man. We appreciate you walking and talking with us.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
Great start to the year for Ryan Sieg, 31 years old, out of Tucker, Georgia, and I believe all 3 of his children are girls. He's got his work cut out for him moving forward.
I know exactly what he's talking about when the work's done and it's time for bed, though.
Hey, speaking of hard work, drivers getting it done today as well.
Well, whoa, man. Yeah, and you know, you look at those, and those are big moments from inside the car, and everybody coming to the checkered here.
And this is a great save by Ross Chastain. That is as close as you get to wrecking and saving it.
Now to the visor cam.
When you hear the engine rev up like that, you know that you're on the verge of disaster. So that was a great save right there. And you can't hit these cars in the left rear, and these are lucky moments that those cars aren't spun around, especially that one right there when you hear the engine rev up like that.
Yeah, and you don't know what's going to happen. They may get loose and go back to the right too. You might get overcorrected.
Reddick wins the stage, leads him down pit road, Matt.
Trying to get a clean sheet of paper. Several drivers passing on messages. Hey, sorry about that during that first stage. Now, Greg Gaulding in the 08, he hit pit road in the 5th position. They're going to go left side, tires only. He runs over the air hose of the car in front. Meanwhile, the 39 of Ryan Sieg, they're going to make a packer out. Also, a track bar adjustment, trying to tighten him up. Regan?
10-car Ross Chastain, fuel only. They did not want him to slide those tires. And the 2-car of our leader, Tyler Reddick, left side tires. He stalled it a bit getting out of the pits. That cost him a couple spots.
Gregson goes +6. Mentioned Reddick. He goes in the wrong direction, losing 2. Justin Allgaier stays out. He will be the race leader. And our second caution of the day, free pass goes to Brandon Jones, who brought out our first caution of the afternoon.
Yeah. What a cluster on pit road. Anytime you come down pit road and this car's taking 2 tires, no tires, probably 1 or 2 of them maybe put 4 on, you got cars coming in while you're trying to get out still, and there's not enough time, and that's where you see cars try to crash, almost crash on pit road or spin each other out trying to get into the box. That's where it gets really crazy on those type of pit roads.
I would say that it's easier to crash on pit road at the super speedway races, but after watching that, it was pretty easy to crash there at the end. Let's talk to Tyler Reddick. Hey there, Tyler Reddick. This is the Fox Sports booth, and great job in that first stage. We hear you talking about your mirror, and tell us how much you're having to rely on your spotter to do all that blocking.
Well, I'm able to see somewhat what's going on, but yeah, it's hard to see. I'm looking at more of my rear view than I have been on the front windshield all race, but I'm getting used to it as we go here. But Derek Dieter, man, he's a badass. He's a lot of fun to work with, and it's cool that I get to work with him again this year.
Well, you're doing a great job, man. Keep it up. It's fun to watch.
Hey, I'm having fun out here racing Ross and all these guys, too, so I'm glad we're not single file. I'm glad we're mixing it up and having a blast.
So are we, Tyler, and we did get a report that the 10 of Ross Chastain, too fast entering, and Reddick penalized as well, both speeding, so they're going to have to drop back. And here's what happened on pit road for Reddick. He's exiting, stalls it, and that's what caused the issue there. Allgaier leading when we return for stage 2.
The damn 10 was pushing me down pit road. I was trying to not speed, but he's knocking the hell out of me.
I've always said, when you come to Talladega, you may see something you've never seen before. Both of those drivers, Ross Chastain, Tyler Reddick, caught for speeding.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen somebody get pushed too fast, and I think as you hear the penalty, it's a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 for Ross Chastain that he was speeding, and I think Tyler Reddick was just kind of a victim of getting pushed, and I don't know that I've ever seen anybody be pushed too fast on pit road and get a penalty.
And there's plenty of times when you're on pit road and you watch the car in front of you gap you a little bit, and you're like, man, maybe I can go a little faster, and it's just baiting you into it. I've never seen it the other way around, where the car actually pushing you over the speed limit.
Those are the 2 drivers that dominated our first stage. Now you put them in the back. How challenging is it going to be to come back through?
Well, I'm excited because I think these are the guys that have been the most aggressive in the first stage here, and I can't wait to watch them come back through the field because I believe they are going to be the same, even more aggressive than they were in the first stage. So it's worked out well for us.
And there's more good news because Ross Chastain is carrying the visor cam. So let's see where his eyes are, what he's doing here with the onboard in regard to the tack.
And this is rolling down pit road. You see his eyes. He looks at the tack. He looks where he's going. Looks at the tack. And trying to do both at the same time. Eventually, he's going to be pushing Tyler.
Yeah, and we see his speed was 60.04 to 60.74, which is, they give you 5 miles an hour, so he was almost a full mile an hour over. So obviously that's probably a tack setting that was off. We hear that they didn't really practice on pit road.
Justin Allgaier stays out. He's the only one. He'll restart on the front row with his teammate Noah Gragson. We're rolling in stage 2 at Talladega.
Good push up top. Off up top now. Even up.
So this is one of the first times we've seen teammates up front. Noah Gragson, Justin Allgaier up front here, racing for the lead. I know they both want the lead pretty bad at this point, so it'll be interesting once they get single file. If they get single file, will those 2 work together to try to take control of the field?
Yeah, and a lot of times you see that teammate stuff work out right on the start, where you have the top line be the leader and the bottom line let him in. So we didn't see any of that teamwork on this start between those 2.
Also want to pay off Justin Haley was caught speeding on that cycle of stops in the 11. He's another one of those we'll watch coming from the back. On board with Haley here, and right behind him, Ross Chastain, his teammate. Those 2 won stage 1 and stage 2 down at Daytona, the other plate race.
And passing the first 15 or 20 cars after a penalty, those are the easier ones to get by. As you get closer to the front, it gets a little tougher. And here you see a car up in the wall. It's Brett Moffitt.
right in front of him.
He either brushed the wall or was up closer to the wall than anybody had been and threw a bunch of dirt up right there.
Look at that silver 86 of Brandon Brown. And we understand he's been penalized with John Hunter Nemechek. They were locking bumpers. That is a no-no. Here it is right of your screen, and they are locked together.
Yeah, and that's just unfortunate for John Hunter right there, because he's at the mercy of the car behind him. It's kind of like the pit road speeding penalty. You know, it's one of those situations where the front car doesn't really have any control, and it wasn't like they were really going anywhere. But that's just kind of one of the downsides to the can't lock bumpers rules, in my opinion.
So I want to point something out here. You got two teammates up front. They started working together, and they've drawn it up to the top a little bit. And now the complex of the race is really just changing at this point. You see the bottom starting to thin out. Everyone's starting to just say, hey, I got to get up top before I'm too late. And it's really changing. If somebody like a Ross Chastain makes the move right now, it may help the bottom come back to life.
Chastain Reddick already back inside the top 10. After serving those penalties, dropping to the rear on this restart, and they're peeking down in that lower lane just a bit there.
Yeah, and he was fortunate that, you know, when he pulled down there, it kind of pulled that guy back, and he was able to slot into a hole that's kind of forming on this top single file lane. When you pull down there, you better hope somebody else pulls down there, and if nobody pulls down there with you, you better hope that hole opened up like it did for Ross, because otherwise you're going all the way to the back.
But what I see there is you have four really fast cars. You have Chastain, Reddick, Cindric, all right there.
Almost halfway through our second stage already. Noah Gragson, the rookie, is leading things. Talladega on this date, April 27th, 1973, Opryland Open in Nashville. Can't believe it hasn't been longer ago than that. How about the first mouse used for your computer? That was in 1981. 2006, construction of One World Trade Center began in New York City. In 2013, you remember this victory, Kevin, at Richmond?
Yeah. That was a fun night.
Like the two of you ever forget when you win, huh?
That was a good one because we restarted 7th with 2 laps to go. Tires matter at Richmond, Joe.
I was right behind you. Yeah. I remember that race now. I finished second. Or maybe it was third. Second or third right there.
That's almost as epic as the last time Earnhardt won here. He went from 18th to the lead, right?
And I guarantee you that Matt Yoakum probably used one of those mouse on his computer.
It might still have it. It might still have it. I think I saw him using it today, making his notes for the race. 10 laps to go, stage 2. Cole Custer's fourth.
We're in a pretty good spot here. Somebody jumped to the bottom later in the stage. We can probably go with them. Yeah, 10-4. I'm trying to watch the 10. He acts pretty antsy, and Reddick's behind him. He took a couple looks that didn't work earlier. Just watching them here.
That sounds good. Let's fire up that bottom lane. Get aggressive toward the end of the stage.
Well, this is the point of the race where you start to come up with a game plan. And maybe a plan A, a B, and a C. And say, okay, who's around me? What do I think's going to happen? If this happens, what am I going to do? And you start thinking about this stuff over and over because you know you got 10 laps to go before the end of the stage. And at some point at the end of the stage, you have to think that a Ross Chastain is going to pull out a line and try to make something happen. And do you go with him? Do you not? All that's going to have to come into play.
Those drivers highlighted in red going for a $100,000 bonus in the dash for cash. One of them, Austin Cindric.
In front of me are the folks willing to go to the bottom, hands down. Telling them I'm only willing to go with one to go.
Copy that. Let's see if the 20 and the 19 are going to stay together, try to go as well, the 2 behind us.
That's the best part. Everybody talks about wanting to go to the bottom, and you're like, all right, let's do it. And you pull down there.
Nobody.
See you later.
just when I'm starting to believe what the drivers are selling, you break my heart like that, Kevin, you know?
Well, that's the other thing, too. When you're talking about these plans, everybody hears them. So everyone knows when it's coming because you have everybody scanning just like we can and listen. everybody else is doing the same thing, and they know when it's coming at you.
Here's the interesting element. Top 2 teammates, 3rd and 4th teammates, guys 5th to 7th teammates. That could play a role in what we see in the closing laps of our second stage.
NASCAR racing is back. The 60th running of the Coca-Cola 600 this Memorial Day weekend. The most patriotic day in racing kicks off with a free concert by Rock and Roll Hall of Famers Cheap Trick. Then NASCAR's best battle it out for the right to be called Coca-Cola 600 champion. Tickets start at just $49 and kids tickets are just $10. Experience race day for yourself at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Get your tickets today. Call 800-455-FANS.
NASCAR fans, are you ready to take your Wi-Fi to the next level? Then you need Xfinity XFi, a more powerful way to stay connected. It gives you super fast speeds for all your devices, Wi-Fi coverage that leaves no room behind, and lets you control your network with the XFi app. It's the ultimate Wi-Fi experience. Xfinity, official partner of NASCAR.
All the pain, all the blood, sweat, tears we put into this. Can we charge it to the gas? Setting up, yeah.
Down goes the champ!
Unified and undefeated champ, Swift Jarrett Hurd defends his titles against top contender Julian J-Rock Williams.
Solid shot. Two fighters in their prime. This is going to be a war. They're going to be going after each other.
It's a super welterweight title fight. Hurd versus Williams, May 11th on Fox and the Fox Sports app.
Talladega might just be the wildest race of the year.
She's going to be a wild one. We're going to see some sparks fly.
Maybe it's because it's just so darn fast.
Some say this track is haunted.
Maybe it's that curse the old-timers talk about.
It's like a fever.
Or maybe it's when the big one hits.
Oh, look at this.
The only thing you can expect at Talladega is the unexpected. The Geico 500 from Talladega, Sunday at 2 Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app.
We make some hay.
I don't care about stage points, man. I'm not. Not what we're here for.
Yeah, copy that. I just don't want to go to 25th with zero help. And those guys all lost stage points, which is their incentive to not screw up now. It's also their incentive at the end to go for them. So we just kind of got to play their game and use them as pawns, I guess.
This is an opportunity race for Ross Chastain. He's 32 points below the cut line. He needs a win to get in the playoffs. Aggression, the name of the game for him, and you saw Reddick pull out a line to no avail back to the top.
Well, that's where enthusiasm meets,
reality.
Reality, yeah. and that's the voice of reason that the spotters have to be sometimes, because we get in there and we're like, I want to go now.
I saw Reddick go to the bottom, but look what happened up top. A little bit of a kiss there.
Yeah, a little, and that can happen. A lot of times when you're tucked up that tight, you can't see the wall. And it looks like he went to the bottom. Maybe he was worried about something after that.
Almost fearful he couldn't get back in line.
Yeah, it looked like, I couldn't tell, but it looked like something on the right behind the right front tire was flapping.
Give him a little room, and then I don't know. That was weird.
It kind of almost looks like the bumper and the fender on the flange fit bodies almost look like it's separated a little bit on the right front of that car.
You know, he scored points in every stage this year. Won stage 1. But right now, Reddick 11th. We'll have 3 laps to go when we come back by the start-finish line this time.
Yeah, and sometimes you look in the mirror, and it's just like when you're driving down the road. If you aren't paying attention 100%, you kind of go with your eyes, and you go to the right, and next thing you know, you scrape the wall a little bit. I've done that. I don't know about you.
You scrape the wall going down the highway?
No. Look at well,
I've done the part where I'm not paying attention driving down the road on the highway. I've never scraped the wall.
Well, now it's going to start picking up, right? You got all these plans going on. Everyone's talking about what they're going to do. We got 3 to go, really 2.5 are coming to take the 2 to go here. Everything's going to start happening pretty quickly. We got a couple pods. The first 2 sets of cars are teammates up there. Behind them, you got Sieg and Chastain. You have Cindric and Bell. It's going to get interesting what's going to happen. And this pack's getting smaller, so your risk isn't as bad right now. Especially the further back you are, you might as well go for it, because what are you going to lose? 2 or 3 spots? That's not too big of a loss for the gain that might be out there if you're willing to make the move.
Let's give some love to Noah Gragson, leading this race as a rookie. Top 5 here in only his second start a year ago. And he's not just leading, he's been out front for 17 laps, in position to win a stage. Great outing for the driver for Junior Motorsports.
Yeah, Noah's doing a great job here. His best friend's right behind him. And it's all about just following where your teammate goes right now. Hopefully something happens to where he's able to maintain that lead. But what you see here, see Ross Chastain, he fell off the back of the 39 car. That's by design. That's a run that he's trying to form. He's going to make this run here to get underneath Ryan Sieg probably pretty quick.
Austin Cindric is behind him. We heard their radio. He said if they jump out of line, I'll go with them. 1 lap to go. Guys, last lap, stage 2, and here they come. That's Sieg leading them. Chastain behind him, then it's Cindric. Bell drops down there as well. Side draft for Allgaier, all of it happening behind Gragson.
Top lane is rolling.
Yeah, and Sieg knew how anxious that Ross Chastain was, and he just went ahead and pulled down there, and he was fairly confident that Ross was going to go with him.
And what Sieg needed there, just a little bit more of a run to get to side-by-side with the leader, Noah Gragson, and was not quite close enough to do it. He's still going to have a gain at the end of this of where he was and gain a couple spots.
Michael Annett a part of that battle. John Hunter Nemechek is up there, although he is a lap down. Back to the start-finish line. Noah Gragson wins stage 2. First career stage victory for him, and Allgaier was able to get second. The rest of the top 5, Sieg, Briscoe, and Chastain.
And something I see right there, all that garbage on front of the grill there, when you're the leader, you get all that, you pick up all the trash, and you see he's overheating. There's smoke coming out of the overflow there.
A great stage 2 for Junior Motorsports, a 1-2 finish. And as we go to break, we send our condolences to everyone in the Junior Motorsports family. Brenda Jackson passed away this week. Our thoughts and prayers are with the family. Talladega Superspeedway, stage 2 complete for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. That's Tyler Reddick. We showed you live how he shot out of line, got a piece of the outside wall. They got some significant damage on that Chevrolet.
Yeah, I think that the biggest problem is it looks like it knocked the crush panel out of it. When you see the front fender, it's broke as well, and it's caving in at the door, so that's not going to get better in my opinion, Joey.
Yeah, I think when you get to, in dirty air and it gets buffering like that, it's not good. Here you see Noah Gragson having to come down pit road when it was closed to fix his overheating problem. As you see all that garbage on the front, that's a big problem and can hurt the durability of that motor. So hopefully they got it cooled down enough, put some water back in it if they needed to.
Gragson right now being scored 33rd. Today it's all about the Xfinity Series. Tomorrow it's the Geico 500. Our coverage begins on FS1 at 12:30 with race day. Then it's over to Fox at 1:30. We're going green right around 2 p.m. Eastern time. You can watch it on the Fox Sports app. And qualifying coming up later today from Talladega. It too is on Fox. It happens at 4:30. And based on what I saw in practice yesterday, at least from the seat that I sit in, this is going to be a fun race. I don't know about the two of you, but I'm going to enjoy it,
Well, it's going to be drastically different just because of the speed of the runs and all of the unknowns. I mean, I don't think any of us really know exactly how fast those runs are going to be because all the cars haven't been together yet, but it will definitely be exciting.
A couple of things to pay off as we wrap up this second stage, and you see Noah Gragson got the win. Free pass here goes to Brandon Brown. He had lost a lap after being penalized twice, once for locking bumpers, once on a commitment line. He gets the free pass on the lead lap. Nemechek stays on the lead lap, and Brandon Jones with a great rally to finish second there in the stage. Pit road is open, Matt.
Allgaier will be the first one down pit road. His teammate Gragson had to hit pit road earlier, like we documented, pushing water. The 7 very pleased with this race car. Meanwhile, the 39 of Sieg balanced much better on this run.
The 20 car, Christopher Bell, is going to do right side tires. They have his radio fixed. He was too loose on the first run, but better on this run. The 10 car, Ross Chastain, don't slide the tires again. He's happy with his race car.
Don't slide the tires. Don't speed. And Chastain, +3 with that no tire stop. Good effort for Brandon Jones, who goes +4 after getting the free pass earlier. And you guys said it. They had to add some water here for Noah Gragson.
Yeah, well, when you see the car stop shooting water, that's a bad sign. So, you know, while it's running, the safe thing to do is put some fresh water and make sure the system's full.
And there they are, taping up the 2 car. Some comeback opportunities for drivers who've been really good in the first 2 stages today. Just about halfway home at Talladega for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Ready for the final stage. Let's give to you our Xfinity fastest pit stops. Who's delivering on the pit lane? Ross Chastain, 5.5-second stop. He'll be the race leader when we go green once again. He's going to take the outside lane. This is going to be an interesting run to the finish. We're right at the halfway point, Kevin.
Yeah, and seeing Ross Chastain recover from his pit road penalties obviously shows you that you can make time through the field. So we've seen Tyler Reddick have some trouble. We've seen the 9 car have some trouble. So I think we definitely have a lot of guys in the back that have made their way to the front, and a couple cars that are in the back that need to make their way back towards the front.
Same thing with Brandon Jones, restarting on the front row. They had an early spin, got the free pass, and here they are.
You can recover at Talladega, but what I see now is those teammates are broken up. How will this race play out now? I don't know if it's going to go back to the wall in single file. It might stay a little bit racy a little longer in this run.
Stage 1 was racy. Stage 2 a little more tame. And now it's all about getting to the checkered flag. Going to be interesting here. We go green with 58 laps to go.
Still inside, barely bumper. Get all the help here, man. All clear, just so you know. Protect my look inside.
One back to your help. Neither one of us has help by 1. Still outside.
Woo!
2 back to our help.
There's a couple of dirt racers there, Bell and Briscoe.
And you see when you get to bumpers on each other like that, you start bumping, and if you're lined up just the wrong way, just the wrong angle, the cars take big sets like that, and you're going to see that happen more and more towards the end of this race as drivers get more and more aggressive. And right now in restarts, they see the best opportunity to gain spots, so they get pretty aggressive.
And I just feel like, you know, when Ross Chastain is in control of the race, I feel like he's going to be the most aggressive in trying to control those 2 lines with the blocking. We saw Tyler Reddick do a good job at it, and as soon as I say that, he doesn't block it and gets past. So it's definitely going to come down to more aggression and get more aggressive as we go towards the end of the race. And some of those moments that haven't happened yet probably have more of an opportunity to happen because of the aggression.
Brandon Jones trying to get the lead here in that bottom lane and receiving help from the 1 of Michael Annett, who started on the pole, dropped back, and I think Annett going backwards early in this race was by design. He's got a fast car, and he's returned to the front. And this was our first caution of the day. Brandon Jones went a lap down, and now he's leading at Talladega.
How about that? First caution, next thing you know, you're in the lead, possibly can win the race. Not a bad recovery.
Well, now we see Michael Annett has been able to get in front of Ross Chastain, and I believe that's a really good spot to be. I think Ross is going to be one of the better pushers if we get towards the end of this race. I think he's going to be one of the more aggressive guys that can help you make time and stay out front.
What did they hit there? Did you see that debris go flying?
It exploded, whatever it was.
It was almost like a water bottle. It looked like water was evaporating in the air. That was very bizarre as they went into turn 3.
A lot of drivers throw their water bottle out the window. I know that's littering, and you shouldn't do that, but a lot of times I see water bottles on the racetrack after a restart.
Yeah, maybe someone threw it out under caution, and then someone hit it there. Michael Annett won at Daytona. First career win. Led the final 45 laps. On the pole today. Dropped to the back early. Took care of his race car. Out front now, but Ross Chastain hunting him down.
Get 10 out front by nose inside, nose inside. Clear, clear. 10 back up with you, 11 with him. You're all clear. 4 down front by 3 top. 2 top. They're going to close back to you, 10 and 11. Close it back to you, look at top, half back top. Clear, clear.
I just love how Ross Chastain is not okay with second place. He does not want to ride. He wants to get in the front and take control of this thing. And it's so much fun to watch him move from lane to lane, trying to get the push, trying to get underneath Michael Annett. A lot of fun to watch.
Well, the amazing part to me is that we're back to 3 wide, and we just came from single file against the wall. And it just... there's no rhyme or reason to the way that it happens. For me, anyway, I can't quite figure it out. And Joey, you might be smarter than me and have it figured out, but it's definitely a lot more fun to watch when they're 3 wide.
I'm pretty sure I'm not smarter, but the only thing I noticed is that there's just not teammates up there.
Yeah.
And that's kind of all I've noticed at this point. But, man, they are getting racy and aggressive. And you see Justin Allgaier just go down the center there and just forcing his way towards the front, making holes, trying to get his way up there.
I look at our top 10. At least 6 or 7 of those drivers have had some kind of problem today. Joey, you said it a while ago. You can come from behind to win a race at Talladega. 53 laps to go. Annett, Chastain, Bell, Earnhardt, Nemechek, your top 5. It's getting good at one of the greatest tracks on the NASCAR schedule, Talladega Superspeedway. 39 laps to go at Talladega for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. This is Tyler Reddick we're watching, and it's got to be a lonely feeling when you've had problems. That's what was under his race car. But it's got to be a lonely feeling when you've had problems. You're all by yourself on track, and here comes the lead draft behind you.
Well, he started to have problems at the end of that second stage when after he hit the wall, he shuffled back a little bit and just kind of held on to finish 10th there in the second stage. But as we see now, those problems have really escalated. He's lost the lead draft and about to get lapped. So he's in big trouble here.
Yeah, right now he's just praying for a caution. Anything you do to get a caution at this point, he's really hoping for it. Those leaders, as you can see, aren't too far behind him. They're going quite a bit faster than him. Going to catch him here in the next couple laps, maybe even less than that. And they're going to go by him probably pretty quick. So he's going to try to tag along and get that lucky dog if he can.
Everyone pitted at the end of stage 2, but they don't have enough fuel to go the distance. Their window will open up probably the next 5, 6, 7 laps, something like that. But everybody is going to have to pit again as we see Ray Black Jr. off the pace in the 07. Gorgeous Saturday afternoon in Talladega, Alabama. Let's crank it up.
Caution's out here. Caution's out.
Well, that just did not work out as we had hoped. Right as we crank it up, we get our 4th caution of the day. Merry Christmas, Tyler Reddick. And that is Ray Black Jr., who came screaming into his pit stall. Wow.
Yeah, we see Ray Black Jr. obviously has some problems underneath the car, and there was a piece of debris I just happened to look and saw come tumbling down the racetrack in turn 1 somewhere down there. So I don't know if NASCAR called the caution for that or for the smoke from this car.
This is interesting. 47 to go. I would say, based on the numbers I heard, we're right outside the window to go the distance. Maybe we'll get some insight from Justin Haley's team.
We might be able to make it from here. It's going to be really, really close. Everybody else is really close, too. Let's get ready here. We're going to be doing gas and go here.
Nick Harrison not afraid to take a chance.
No. I mean, you got to go for it. And they're talking about if it goes green, they're probably going to be pretty close. If they get a caution or two, like you most likely will get at the end of a super speedway race, they're probably going to make it.
My.
Whew. That probably scared him a little bit.
You know, the NFL draft is in its final stages today, final rounds. This fellow ought to be picked up based on athleticism. You know what I mean?
I thought so. I think what happened there, if you look at Ray Black Jr., there was some oil underneath his car when he parked there, which makes me think that he had some fluid or something coming out of his car. Obviously, a piece of debris on the racetrack as well. Like Kevin saw all the way from the booth up here.
Man, you guys all talk about me being blind. Jeez, it's a piece of debris from all the way in the booth here.
Good eyes.
And fluid.
And you weren't even using the binoculars. That's impressive.
It was an accident. Some of the best things happen purely by accident.
I said it when we came back there, but Tyler Reddick, I believe here, is in line to get the free pass if he didn't stay in front of the race leaders. And our timing and scoring is not reset, so we'll keep an eye on that. Either way, this caution very timely for the driver of the 2, as we had talked about his problems.
Yeah, and that's those are those saving grace moments, because you don't get that caution and it goes pretty long. You may never have the opportunity to recover. Now Tyler Reddick has the moment to catch back up to the field and actually drive back through the field again and have a chance to recover, just like we've seen multiple other drivers do in this race already.
Saw his crew chief there, Randall Burnett. So they're going to pit with 45 laps left. You only got 4 sets of tires for the weekend. That's practice and everything. Fuel only here for track position, right?
Well, you know, the way that the race has gone, I think you have to keep your track position. So I think that's what you're going to see everybody do is probably do fuel only and keep their track position the best that they can. So this comes down to some of the conversations that we've had about Kyle Busch. Who can do the details the best of getting down pit road, into their pit boxes, get the fuel in the quickest, and take advantage of a pit stop.
And where this is going to get crazy is they're not going to be in their pit stalls very long. So this car is going to be coming by them while they're in their pit stall and trying to get out of their pit stall. So it's going to get very hairy as you see cars start to leave their boxes, as other cars are still rolling in.
32 cars on the lead lap. Tyler Reddick was on the lead lap. Free pass went to Alabama's own Mike Harmon. And it looks like everybody is going to go fuel only, and we will see who's the first off. Michael Annett was the leader, but Christopher Bell executing on pit road with Jason Ratcliffe in the crew. He goes +2, and he will be out front. Annett, Earnhardt, Chastain, Cindric, the order off of pit road. 45 laps to go. We're live in Talladega, Alabama.
I really have no idea when to make my final move. It seems like I've always been on the losing end of it, not on the winning end of it.
Depends on what spot you're in, but I think the start-finish line so late, you usually want to wait to the tri-oval or so if you have a shot to win.
If you can make it to the tri-oval in the lead, you're probably okay. But we've seen the last few finishes here come all the way down to the stripe, photo finishes. I don't know that there's a good time to make that last move.
37 drivers in this field today. Unbelievable experience. So much talent. But not one of them has a victory here in NASCAR competition. Give them some advice on when you make that move.
Man, there's so many circumstances and different things you have to figure out to make that decision on when to make the move. You know, there's times that you want to make it into 3 or down the backstretch, and there's times that you want to make it off of turn 4, and it just all depends. But I know the worst is when you're ready to make a move and you're on the last lap and then the caution comes out.
Oh, yeah.
And you never get the chance to make the move. Those ones hurt the most.
And I think it depends on what style of race it turns into. Is it 3 wide? Is it single file? You know, what style of race are you dealing with as you get towards the end? If it's just pure chaos, you want to try to just position yourself in the front, really either way. But if it's pure chaos, it kind of comes down to almost the luck of the push and the pushy and when you pull out, and so there's a lot of things that factor in. I haven't got that right near as much as Joey at this particular track, so it's really a little bit of a guessing game on my part.
This place about execution in more ways than one, and it's not just on the racetrack, it's on pit road as well, Regan.
Well, you're absolutely correct, Adam. As we watch that last pit stop, the 20-car Christopher Bell gets the lead coming out of the pits there. I happen to be standing directly in between the one car of Michael Annett and his pit stall, and I watched both of these cars stop. They stopped at exactly the same time. The 20 car took off maybe a quarter of a second sooner, not very much, but it was the launch out of the pit box where he was able to win that race off of pit road. His car hooked up and took off wonderfully off of this pit box and back onto pit road. That got him the lead.
The only thing I would say is we're tight on being able to make it the distance. We think they can, but if they didn't stay on pit road long enough, that could be a detriment down the stretch. Speaking of which, Tyler Reddick, Cole Custer, Noah Gregson, all pitted and topped off, and staying out, not pitting at all, David Starr. He'll be the race leader, 51 years old, from Houston, Texas.
Yeehaw. That's going to be interesting. But to see Christopher Bell leave pit road like that, there's so much races that have to happen on pit road to position yourself to try to win this thing. And that's just a fuel-only stop. So getting into your box quick and all that, but obviously engaging the fuel can, getting the fuel, that's so important. But then also being able to launch and get that spot like Christopher was able to do is really good.
We told you tomorrow's race, the Geico 500 on Fox, 1:30 Eastern time for our coverage. We're also on our social channels. It's the Fox Sports Hot Pass Hangout, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and all the other avenues, including Caffeine TV. We start there at 2 p.m. Eastern. It's Caitlin Vinci, Michael Waltrip, and Regan Smith. It'll be entertaining. A different way to watch a race. It's tomorrow at 2 Eastern time. But right now, it's all about the Xfinity Series. Going to be 42 laps to go. What's the over-under on how many more cautions we're going to have?
There's going to be a couple. What's the thing?
I think there has to be a couple, but it just depends on how much they stay packed up.
David Starr takes the outside lane. Bell, Annett, Earnhardt, Chastain, Cindric. The other drivers up there with him.
And you see it not too long before those cars behind him are going to try to shuffle out David Starr just because they're not used to that car there. And I think it's almost a comfort thing. And you see how that splits up the whole pack is the most unorganized restart we've had so far. So you're going to see some big runs because of that as these cars close up.
Bell slides up in front of Annett. Chastain getting out of line. Dicey already. Chase Briscoe shooting to the bottom of the racetrack.
And immediately we see that top line become the dominant line and very few cars left on the bottom.
It almost seems like once it happens once in a race, everyone gets scared of it happening again, and they don't want to get caught like you see some of these cars like Chase Briscoe on the bottom right now, going all the way to the back of this pack. And so everyone just decides, well, I'm just going to get up there and play the safe route, keep myself close to the end, or close to the front for the end of the race to try to make the move to win.
I tell you what this is bad for, and that's those crew chiefs sitting on the pit box right now, because a lot of those guys might have been banking on having a caution, and if it goes like this, fuel mileage is going to be a factor if they were close.
And especially if you're one of the top 5 cars. Those cars use a lot more throttle to maintain that speed than you do if you're 7th to 15th or 20th. You don't have to use as much gas to keep the car up to speed because you're in that slipstream.
Let's examine those front 4 cars. Bell has a win. Annett has a win. Nothing to lose for them. Chastain, really nothing to lose because he knows this is his opportunity race. And we've already seen how aggressive he will be. And Jeffrey Earnhardt is 4th, not running for points. He, too, should be aggressive. And this tweet from home today, Kevin.
I don't know what... I don't really know what that means. But yeah. Well, the bottom line is she should check her spell check before you make that tweet public.
I won't ask you live on the air how to spell refrigerator because I'm not sure I'd get it right myself. So we'll just let that one go.
Well, I mean, sometimes I overlook a few things here and there.
But here's the deal. When you tell Delana how beautiful she is, now she knows that's legit because you have great vision.
You guys realize you're opening Pandora's box here, right? Like there is now another tweet coming.
And this on the heels of you taking Keelan to get that haircut earlier this week,
yeah.
You know?
that zigzag in the side of his head was definitely not mom approved.
I got 2 words. Doghouse. Let's crank it up with 39 laps to go in Talladega.
you.
You got 3 cars total working the bottom. They're way out there.
The zero.
It ain't gonna work.
They're behind the zero. The double zero. Keep trying to get that bottom lane to work. And you get like 1 or 2 guys to come with them for a hop in.
Down to 36 laps remaining. Christopher Bell leading here at Talladega in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Michael Annett, Ross Chastain, Jeffrey Earnhardt, Austin Cindric, the top 5. And I go back to Daytona. Christopher Bell told us down there, this is as comfortable as I have ever been racing in the plate configuration. I think that confidence showing here today.
There's so much that goes into plate racing, and you know, a lot of drivers, especially early in their career, say it's a crapshoot, it's luck, you know, whether you get through the crashes or not, or you finish it and all that. Until you start to realize it's usually the same guys that are up at the end of up front at the end of the race over and over again. You say they just can't be that lucky, and that's when you really start to study it and figure it out. And you see how Christopher Bell is obviously figured out some things to be able to maintain the lead like he is right now.
Joe Gibbs Racing has 5 wins here at Talladega, but they haven't been to victory lane here since 2014. 2 laps to go for the Xfinity Series at Talladega. Here's a look at our ExxonMobil race summary. 9 leaders so far today. Christopher Bell out front right now. He has enjoyed the top spot for 11 circuits. 12 lead changes, only 4 cautions. That's the same number we had in the season opener at Daytona. Tyler Reddick won stage 1. Noah Gragson won stage 2. Both have had problems since, but they are in the mix as we cross the start-finish line. 31 remaining, and the conversation during Crank It Up and during our break centered around fuel mileage. These teams are right on the edge. Regan?
Well, Adam, down here at my end of the pits, I've got the leader of 20, Christopher Bell. They feel like they are 2 laps to the good. They don't have to save it all. Right behind him, the 1 car of Michael Annett, as we see Justin Allgaier getting to the inside of both of them right now. He feels like that they are right on their number. The 10 car of Ross Chastain, they have got to save a couple laps worth of fuel. Matt?
And looking at the numbers, Justin Allgaier was told by his team that they feel like they are 1 lap to the good. Meanwhile, on the inside there, right behind him, the 98 of Chase Briscoe, they came back in under that last caution and topped off.
And he's not the only one, Matt. Cole Custer, his teammate, did the same. Tyler Reddick also came back down pit road at lap 70. Those drivers, you have to believe, can go the distance. And things starting to mix up at the front of the field for the lead. That's Allgaier, who's never won on a plate race in the 7, getting help from the aforementioned Chase Briscoe.
And those guys on the bottom were working back there for a long time, and they finally got enough cars with them that are disciplined enough to do it the right way. Stay behind each other, make up your time around the corner with the shorter distance, and work that side draft down the straightaways. Everyone's got to do their part in this. If you have one person that bails out and gets back in or doesn't work the side draft like you're supposed to, the bottom lane won't work. But man, they pulled that thing all the way up to be side by side with the leader, Christopher Bell, and there's a good chance that one of them's going to take the lead here in a little bit.
Were you a little bit surprised that Christopher Bell didn't at least pull down and try to play the lanes?
I think so. I think eventually, as someone gets that close to you, you would eventually say, hey, the bottom's moving, let me get down there. But you know, you can also say what's been working for you is hard to get off of sometimes.
That goes back to what you said earlier, though. There is an art form to being good at this, and managing the lead has got to be a huge part of that, right?
It definitely is. And you know, it's just over time and experience, and unfortunately, I mean, for me, I had to get beat a lot to learn what I need to, and I still, every time I go out in the draft, I learn something. Every time I go, Noah Gragson through
Noah Gragson out of line, going to bring out the caution for the 5th time today. Looked like exactly what we saw from Brandon Jones early in the race, but unfortunately, the rookie from Las Vegas makes contact with the inside wall, and just like Jones at the time of the incident, he was riding in the 10th position.
My fault. Thanks.
Dave, talk. How is your suspension? Is it just nose damage or the suspension?
I think it's got pretty good nose damage. Splitter's folded under pretty bad. I'll try and get back to you.
And that's after a crash. Your first thing you do is, how bad's the damage? How can we fix it? The race isn't over yet. How do we figure out how we can get back in this thing? Because you can recover here.
Yeah, and there you see what we talked about earlier. He tries to come down, and the 2 car comes down, and just kind of got squeezed and had to pull the wheel to the left to try to go down, and spun out.
Yeah, just like you said, Kevin, that seam on the racetrack, then you get a car right on your door like that. That's a pretty heavy impact there to the left front.
I didn't think, looking at the race car, the damage was as bad.
I didn't see that part.
As I would have anticipated based on how much contact there was.
Yeah, and really it had nothing to do with pulling the wheel. It had to do with the contact that came from hitting the 2 car coming down and hitting that right front tire, and it immediately just shot the front of the car to the left and spun it out.
And this is the point when you always realize how fast you were just going. It takes, this is a slide for life right there. He slid for, I don't know, 400 yards at least, before he got to the wall there. So you're just hoping not to hit something.
The Sunoco sign got in the way of our replay there.
Well, you see him try to let off the brakes with the wheels turned to the right just a little bit, and it's just going so fast that you just can't make it work.
Yeah, it crunched it up pretty good.
Impact.
Here's the good news for all the other competitors. Have some on fuel mileage.
Yeah, this will probably put them to the point that they can make it.
Yeah, I'm sure if we go to the inside of Ross Chastain's car right now, he's working those switches pretty hard to shut the car off and try to save some fuel.
There he goes. At that point, all they're doing is just shutting the motor off, not burning fuel, pop starting it back off the clutch, and you're probably going to see the whole field doing this right now.
Because the engine saves a lot of gas when it's off. It burns much less fuel. Well, you can just save it at a much higher rate than just coasting. Shutting the engine off is obviously the best way to save gas because it's not running.
Yeah, race is never over.
When I'm heading back down Interstate 20 to the hotel today, maybe I'll just switch it off. What do you think?
You don't want the steering wheel to lock up. That's a really bad idea in your street car.
27 laps to go. We're under caution. Noah Gregson, the rookie, a victim of Talladega Superspeedway.
Talladega might just be the wildest race of the year, especially.
Hard to believe when you look at the career for Justin Allgaier. He's never won on a plate track. And I see those 3 second-place finishes. I go to Daytona a couple of summers ago. When he thought he won, caution came out on the final lap, and it was determined that Eric Almirola was leading at the time of caution. So he has been heartbroken. But the good news for driver 7, he's out front right now and looking for his first win of 2019. Junior Motorsports has won 5 of the last 10 races on plate tracks with 5 different drivers. Allgaier is not one of them. And next weekend we go to Dover, where he won a season ago. We've got coverage live on FS1, and we've also got the Xfinity Watch Us Watch. I know Vince Welch is going to be a part of that. So is 4-time champion Jeff Gordon. We're going to make him work on a Saturday in the broadcast booth, so to speak. So that'll be a fun opportunity there. But before that, we got to finish business here, and it's anybody's guess how this one's going to round out.
It really is. But I think when you look at Justin Allgaier, I think he's hungry. You know, with all the problems that they've had with things going wrong early in the season, they've run very well. And a team like that wants to get to victory lane, that knows they can win and knows that they've had problems. He wants to capitalize on today.
Yeah, I mean, those 3 second-place finishes, that stings really bad. And he's probably got the most experience of anybody up in the field, especially towards the front half of the field right now, without a win. He's really good at this. And I wouldn't be surprised to see some big moves happen. And as hungry as he is to get his first restrictor plate win, it's going to be big moves.
And I think about the loss of Brenda Jackson this week, an emotional time for this race team, so much on the line. You kind of feel like it's their opportunity to go out and get one, Matt.
And talking about fuel mileage, now the 7 car, they were good to the go by 1 lap before this caution, but this certainly does reshuffle the deck, so to speak, for a lot of other guys behind you.
Yeah, you know, I mean, they had it pretty well single filed out on the top. You know, Justin was able to get to the bottom, and they had 5 or 6 good cars, and then slow them down using the side draft and work our way back toward the front. So this will shuffle it up a little bit. It'll be interesting to see if with what just happened on the track, if guys try to stay too wide rather than just everybody get to the top. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Anything can happen here in the next 25 laps or so.
Okay, good luck, Regan.
Well, the other end of that pass that just took place was Christopher Bell running the top side. Your driver looked really good out front there. Then the bottom line came along. We know you're good for fuel. So what are you telling him about what to do at the end of this race?
Well, it's hard to know right now. It looked like the top was, going to be the place to be, and somehow they got organized around the bottom. You typically don't see that. You can't get enough guys to buy in, but they did. They did a nice job of pulling back up through there. I think from here on out we'll see 2 or 3 wide racing. But hopefully we get in the right lane here. The car's been good all day. It's been somewhat eventful, but I think business is fixing to pick up. I want to give a shout out to my brother. He's competing in a Texas Ironman today. Last I looked, he was about lap. He was at mile 110, I think. So we're cheering him on. Good luck to him, and we'll see what we got here at the end.
The entire Ratcliffe family is doing a lot of racing today, Adam.
Oh, man, the Ironman at mile 110 of anything. That's difficult when you don't have an engine to back you up. Ross Chastain going to restart 8th here. Let's listen to their radio.
He may win this race, and he's a hell of a race car driver, but I don't want to be nowhere around Bell out here. I swear, like, he didn't go get on the 7th door right there, and I don't know. He must not like plate racing or something.
I agree. I was thinking the same thing. I thought they would take off when it was time to go,
Well, the interesting part about this conversation is the driver did not hear that. That is all coming from the radio chatter between the crew chief and the spotter. So that is all happening on Channel 2. But I can tell you that I would tend to agree with them a little bit, just because I didn't see the aggression out of Christopher Bell from a blocking standpoint right there. So I just think that he could have been more aggressive to try to keep the lead from a blocking standpoint, and you're going to have to block and push and shove and be aggressive in order to win this race, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it's always so easy for us to say that up here, isn't it?
I agree. I'm with you.
When you're in that car and you're like, man, the top's working really well, and a lot of that's up to the spotter to be able to tell him, okay, the top or the bottom is moving at this point. And then you just got to be able to pick up and do it. You got to just take the ball and say, I got to move around to maintain the lead. And that's where just experience comes into play. And he learned a very valuable lesson that he may use to win this race here in a minute.
Yep. Going to be 22 laps to go when we get the restart. A reminder of this: Fox Sports Supports is proud to partner with Action for Healthy Kids, a nonprofit organization working to improve children's health and well-being in schools nationwide. Find out how to involve your local school in Every Kid Healthy Week this April 22nd to the 28th. So we're wrapping it up here. It's actionforhealthykids.org. And Kevin, I saw you on social media this week making a healthy treat, right? What was it, avocado sandwich or something like that?
Oh, yeah. I lost a bet, so I have to run this millennial car.
I've seen it
at the All-Star race. So, I learned a whole bunch of new words, and I ate an avocado sandwich that apparently you pay $15.75 for in New York. So it looked pretty simple to make, and it actually was pretty good, but I'd never ate one. Have you?
I have had avocado toast before. Okay. I am a millennial, so I guess you have to, and I like it. I have a few avocados a day, really.
Your shop made it for me, and she did a fabulous job. It was very good. So.
Good. Well, I'm glad to hear.
Yeah.
You've kind of got an avocado tie, and that tie also kind of looks like a watermelon, and the watermelon guy is in position to go get a win, huh?
He's going to be on the wheel. And I can guarantee you that there's a lot of guys that want to win right now, and this is one of them. And I think he will do just about anything that he has to do to make it happen.
I wouldn't put my money against Ross Chastain. It's going to be a checker or wrecker for him, one way or the other.
Allgaier takes the outside lane. Briscoe up there with him. Row 2. Cole, Custer, Christopher Bell, and the 4 drivers highlighted in red. Whoever finishes best gets an additional $100,000 at the end of the race.
Here. Still on yet? Not yet. Half a lane lower.
All clear. All clear. He is off of you. Coming back to you now. No, bottom nose down. Bottom nose down. He's there.
A couple of dirt racers
now, 00.
working together in that bottom lane. Bell pushing Briscoe to the race lead.
Now Briscoe's a little bit too far out there. It's defendable, but he's going to definitely have to make some big moves like you see here to be able to maintain the lead that he's got. And that's something that happens. Sometimes you get pushed out to the lead, and all of a sudden you find yourself 3-4 car lengths ahead, and you're like, how'd that happen? And you got to try to slow down back to the cars behind you, but still keeping some momentum. That's a real big challenge.
The top here, 7 will come with a big run. Guard your top, guard your middle. 1 back to the 7.
I don't know about you, Kevin, but I know when I get to the lead, I don't even look at the windshield anymore. If that car behind me drove right into the wall, I'm pretty sure I follow that car right into the wall, because you were just staring in that mirror with so much intensity, just trying to see everything you possibly can through that rear spoiler and that rearview mirror.
Well, and it's so important to go from lane to lane to try to control the momentum of each lane, to almost keep them even, you know, is really your goal, so that you can try to help slow down what's coming on the top and take advantage of that run to get pushed out a little bit, and when the bottom comes back. And so there's a lot to do, and you're exactly right. You have to look backwards a lot.
What I see here is 2 very organized lanes. No one's shooting the gap down the center. And if that does happen, that's where you're going to see the bottom lane go away. But right now, everyone's being very disciplined on that bottom lane, trying to maintain, you know, with those leaders that are running the top side right now with those first 2 cars.
Well, we see those guys. Cole Custer up there, he was very aggressive with the 7 car of Justin Allgaier in the shots that he was giving to the back bumper of that car. So, you know, it seems like the outside lane right now is a little bit more aggressive from that 2nd, 3rd, 4th place in the distance of their gaps and the bumps that they're giving.
Everybody wants to win this thing. It's going to get crazier and crazier towards the end of this. And you see how Christopher Bell in that bottom lane were side drafting down the straightaway. That's just them trying to hold them back. They're going to make all their time up in the corners, and then down the back straightaway here, you see the top lane's going to build that momentum off the top side. And at that point, it's up to the bottom lane to try to slow up that top lane as best as possible. As
big crash. Annette out of line. Into Allgaier. Cole Custer into the wall. 6th caution of the day.
Bring it to the pit box and we'll look at it.
At Mike Shiplett, the crew chief for the 00 of Cole Custer, our most recent winner. And when you have won a race, it takes so much pressure off at a plate track, realizing if you crash out, you've got something to fall back on. Same situation for Michael Annette, who's got heavy damage.
Yeah, at this point, you know, you're going to see a lot of pit crews going to work on these things, trying to clear tires so we don't get more flat tires and gain as much points as possible. Here we see, let's see what happened here.
Yeah, it looks like the 22, it's hard to tell from right there how far to the right. It almost looked like he caught that right rear bumper, but it's really hard to tell from that angle.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. You know, you're pushing. Obviously, on both lanes, we're you know, trying to tandem as best as possible, and yeah, he just gets a little to the right and
caught him in that right rear corner of the bumper. It looks like.
Now just watch 7, Allgaier. Is he living right, or is he living right?
It's a scary feeling when you start spinning in front of the field and all you're just waiting for another big impact, and he's really going to come out of this with not much damage at all.
And keep in mind, he's one of the drivers eligible for the Dash for Cash. So is Cole Custer. Most likely he is eliminated, but while there's a loss of track position, Allgaier might still have a chance. One more angle on the incident that brought out our 6th caution.
These cars get so light when you're just tucked up behind them, and then when you add a physical push like you're going to see right there, you know, they really want to spin to the right. You know, they have a lot of wedge in them. Sometimes that wedge makes it, you know, okay to the left, but when it goes to the right, they get really, really loose like that.
Yeah, you see those two cars, they were kind of moving around a little bit, and that makes it worse. And when they're making contact, and they're both kind of moving opposite lanes.
I don't believe in luck, but that was bad luck for Cole Custer. There's not much he could have done there. Wrong place, wrong time.
Here's what they said on the 22 radio of Austin Cindric.
I don't know what to do there. I'm giving him the best push he can get. He's still trying to side drive. Don't matter now.
I don't know, Joey. What do you think?
Well, obviously it's hard racing, right? Everyone's trying to fight for every inch that's there, and the cars are unstable. You're pushing hard, and it's going to keep happening like this as we get further and further into the race. And there we see Cole Custer, calling it a day as he takes his helmet off here.
Going to be less than 15 laps to go when we get this all cleaned up and return to the green flag. Chase Briscoe leading at Talladega as we go side by side on FS1.
Only the one. Just the one.
Cole Custer takes it in Texas. Chase Briscoe wins in Charlotte. He has done it. Nemechek wins.
Justin Allgaier back to victory lane.
Christopher Bell.
Tyler Reddick pulls it off.
This year, on the track,
Back it down.
new names will become worthy of the spotlight. The 22-year-old is the Xfinity Series champion. The NASCAR Xfinity Series. Names are made here.
The right gear matters. Introducing the all-new 2019 Ford Ranger. It's the right gear with a terrain management system for this, a bash plate for that, an electronic locking rear differential for, this. Heading to the supermarket? Get any truck. Heading out here? Get the Ford Ranger. The only adventure gear built Ford tough.
Uh-oh. Looks like someone's still nervous about buying a new house.
Is it that obvious?
Yes, it is. Maybe you'd worry less if you got Geico to help with your homeowner's insurance.
I didn't know Geico helps with homeowners insurance.
Yeah, they've been doing it for years. What are you doing? Big Steve?
Thanks, man.
There he is.
Get to know Geico and see how much you could save on homeowners and renters insurance.
Seeing the people at the racetrack that genuinely want to see you do well, that's what means the most to me.
The son of a legend trying to make a name for himself.
Talladega is unpredictable. We are going to crash at some point. One bad decision by a guy can ruin 25 other people's days as well. When you finally get in the car on Sunday, that's definitely a good time to lock in and start thinking about what's coming and what's ahead.
Cleveland, man, play to win championships.
There's a lot of pride in that starting rotation, and there's a lot of dominance in that starting rotation.
But Houston Astros, the Springers, the Altuves, the Correas, they have a chance to win the championship each and every year.
Christian Yelich, MVP last year.
These guys believe they can win right now. Watch out for the Brewers this year. This team's going to be something to deal with.
I think the Mets are more equipped today to make a run because their pitching is so good. Talladega might just be the wildest race of the year.
She's going to be a wild one. We're going to see some sparks fly.
Maybe it's because it's just so darn fast.
Some say this track is haunted.
Maybe it's that curse the old-timers talk about. Or maybe it's when the big one hits.
Look at this!
The only thing you can expect at Talladega is the unexpected. The Geico 500 from Talladega, Sunday at 2 Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app.
Back here in our Race Hub studios, Shannon, Larry, and Jamie. Sixth caution of the day. We should have just under 15 laps to go when we go back green flag racing. Was that the big one?
I don't think so. They're going to have 10 to 12 laps of racing, and now they know the checkered flag is near.
Very close.
Yeah, I would say that was the important one because it took 3 of the top 4 cars out. But like Larry said, we're going to have a restart here, and it's going to get a little more serious.
We talked about Justin Allgaier still looking for that first plate win, and he could plate. I said it. There you go. Super Speedway win, and he could still do it. it here today. All right, let's take a look at how these things went down so far out at Talladega. Race recap time at the biggest track on the circuit. Take a look. Early on, first caution, Brandon Jones brought this baby out.
Yeah, I mean, and it's hard to explain, but the tri-oval, the back of the car is the lightest as it is anywhere on the racetrack. He kind of got in just some dirty air, and the car spun around. Luckily, he saved that. He actually comes back to lead the race in a little bit.
Yes, we got a speeding penalty, too, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure Tyler Reddick could do a whole lot here because Ross Chastain was pushing him down pit road. Both of them busted for speeding.
Look at you. Can
so
just see
dejected
him.
right there.
Totally. Tyler Reddick hits the wall on lap 46. It's been kind of a rough day for our stage winners, huh?
It's been Tyler's big adventures because he won stage 1, hits the wall, got busted for speeding, and now he's running inside the top 5.
Noah Gragson overheating. He did win stage 2, but had to come down pit road. Just a lot of debris on that front grille, so they came down, cleaned it up. Again, Tyler Reddick with another problem on pit road, Jamie.
Yeah, the jack stand actually gets caught underneath the car here. It finally comes out when there's only about half of it left, but he's had the craziest day, and it's crazy to see that he's in the top 10 again.
Yes, there you go. That's not what you want to see.
Nope, there it comes.
Yeah, it's out. You guys said that's pretty
it looks hot.
You want to go pick it up.
It looks hot, yeah.
No. Okay, and here we go. Noah Gragson continues the curse of the stage winner. He goes for a slide, and it's the never-ending slide, right? Oh, it looks like he might keep it off the wall.
Not quite. He actually had one stage 2, but a lot of damage to that 9 car.
Yes, a lot of damage to that 9 car. He looked like he might be able to keep it in the center of the track, but wasn't. And then, of course, this is what we were just talking about. Took out some of our front runners. The semi-big one, or possibly the big one on the day.
Yeah, and this started from Austin Cindric pushing Michael Annett. And here's the deal. When you're going to get pushed in your Michael Annett's position, you hold the wheel as straight as you can. I don't think Michael saw that run coming. He was actually trying to get to the outside of who was in front of him. Man, they just got off from underneath him there. Caused a pretty big wreck.
Okay, so who are we watching? Who are we watching in these closing laps?
Well, I'm going to be watching Austin Cindric because he's right up there in the mix. And remember, he's one of those 4 drivers that if you finish in front of the other 3, you don't even have to win the race. A $100,000 bonus dash for cash.
Dash for cash. What do you got?
Well, Christopher Bell is gonna be a contender, but John Hunter Nemechek is the one that I'm looking at. He was the innocent victim of being pushed by Brandon Brown earlier in the race.
Yeah.
Had to make a green flag pit stop, stayed on the lead lap. He's in the top 5 right now, so he's got a good car, and he's done a good job all day long putting himself in the right position.
Someone else in the top 10, he's got a name, Earnhardt. We talked about him at the beginning of the day. He's currently running 8th, Adam.
Yeah, Shannon, I love when we do this back and forth because you know what Harvick calls Shannon, Jamie, and Larry.
Minions.
The minions.
The minions.
I don't think you guys look like minions. Hey, I want to go to what Larry said. Shannon asked, was that the big one? He said, no, less than 15 to go. We might see the big one yet. What do you guys think? Agree or disagree?
Well, you're going to have to push and shove, and obviously with the restarts and everything that's getting ready to happen here, it's time to go. It's time to win, and I think you're going to see some aggression, and usually that results in an accident.
Most likely. And you see, there's been enough cautions for everyone to save fuel, but don't forget about green-white checkers. That can happen here where this race goes into overtime, and you may see some cars be a little close on fuel. So you're going to see more aggressive racing, a lot more things happening here in the next few laps where you're going to see a lot more pushing and shoving.
The trends here say there will be a short run to the finish. Just how short will it be? And one of the players, no doubt, is Tyler Reddick.
They'll give you that 100,000 too if you win this race, just so you know. Really? I had no idea. Thank you, Randall.
Reddick was 200 yards from going a lap down. Got a timely caution. They have taped that thing up. If he wins this race, they will have earned it. Not that anyone else will have not earned it if they win, but certainly this team has worked hard today.
He had an adventure today either way to recover what he's gone through. He's already had a great day no matter what happens here, but that dash for cash, 100 grand, those 2 cars lined up right next to each other in 3rd and 4th, they're going to be racing.
Allgaier not out of it yet. They got him all taped up. He restarts 27th. He is on the lead lap. 13 laps to go. Briscoe in the outside lane.
Lane popped out 2 rows back. Just watch him here. 1 row back. He's on you, pushing. Keep going top. Keep going top. He's still pushing you. He's on you.
Now let's see what Christopher Bell can do now. Gets to the lead. Now it's up to him again to work lanes from one to the other. See if he learned from earlier in the race.
way back, you still want back bottom.
That answers that question. He's changed lanes twice going down the back straightaway. So, like you said earlier, he definitely learned something there, and now he's trying to take control of the race from the lead to control those lines.
That's why it's so important to race early in the race.
Keep the 98. That's your help. Bottom come apart. Keeping the 98. Bottom come apart. Majority's up top. 4 total, very bottom. We got about 20 with us top lane. Keeping the 98. 2 pushing them. Keeping the 98. Everybody's up top.
Reddick getting out of line. He swings down to the bottom.
And that was
back to the top. What a move.
What a great move. He gets to the left rear of Chase Briscoe and side drafts him just enough to build a hole to get back in right in front of him. Go down in the corner, get right up there. Great move. That was textbook.
He's really good at this style of racing. Won a truck race for Brad Keselowski. The Gander Outdoors Truck Series season opener a few years ago down at Daytona. Won at Daytona last year in the Xfinity car. He's our reigning champion and trying for his first victory of the year. And some debris out of the racing groove. Will that bring out a caution as we close on 10 remaining? Reddick jumps to the lead. Briscoe up behind him, and here comes Earnhardt down low, and the caution is out.
Man, that was some good racing right there. That was fun to watch, you know, the top forming, but everyone's still racing at the same time. No one was just riding in the top. Like, they were just taking that momentum and using it to move forward, and really no one was doing better than Tyler Reddick at it. I gave it the spot.
That move by Tyler Reddick, it looked aggressive at the time, but the way that he pulled that car down away you know, from the other car allowed him to not be side drafted and like you say, take advantage of that hole that had formed in the top lane.
Ryan Sieg with a damaged race car, and it's that debris that has brought out the yellow flag for the 7th time today. Here it is one more time.
Now here he goes for the lead. This one we didn't see it, but same move. Side drafting, gets away, takes the shorter distance down here on the bottom. He's got him cleared by 2 or 3 in second, third place.
That side draft on the 20 car slowed him down so much, and those guys, you know, in second, third, and fourth were able to take advantage of that side draft that Tyler Reddick pulled on the 20.
You talked about the difference in speed, and we saw it there with our pointers. It was 5 miles per hour difference when he went down low.
Oh yeah, come on now, let's go, let's go. All right, settle down, man. Still got a little ways to go.
The voice of reason.
I look like an idiot all day. I'm just trying to redeem myself.
I tell you, I'm the same way. I don't know if you are. When you make a really cool move on the racetrack, I key up. I'm like, do you guys see that? That was really good.
But he said something there.
Excited.
I'm trying to redeem myself. I saw him at Texas. He said, you know, when we were here last year, I threw the race away. I threw it away in California. He is so hard on himself. And if you ever put a heart rate monitor on a driver, it would probably look like this. But this is actually his day. Front to back to front to back. He's been all over the place.
Well, the reason that he's so hard on himself today is he kind of just did it riding in line going down the straightaway and wound up hitting the wall and tearing the right side of the car up. So those are the days when you do something that is kind of like, you know, you just feel like it shouldn't have happened at all. Those are the days as a driver you're kind of embarrassed and you want to make up for it. And right now he's definitely making up for it.
You look at our top 10. Earnhardt going for his first career victory, fast race car. Brandon Jones behind him, his teammate, top 10, fast race car. And you want an upset special on a Saturday at Talladega? I give to you Williams, Josh Williams, Brandon Brown, Alex LeBay, Brett Moffitt. There's plenty of drivers up there that could shock the world
I thought you were going with the upset on the Earnhardt side of things.
Well, that would be an upset, right? You think?
Well, I don't know.
In a Gibbs car, I don't know.
A lot of Earnhardt wins at this place.
That's right. Saw Ross Chastain coming in. The repairs being made to the 39 of Ryan Sieg.
Yeah, and Ryan Sieg has to put that tail back on his car. Otherwise, he's not eligible to keep going. You have to have the tail on the car in order to keep going here at Talladega.
And they will be on the damaged vehicle clock here, and they got 6 minutes to get that repaired. and then you have to meet minimum speed. But you think maybe because they weren't involved in an accident, they don't get the clock set on them in this situation, Kevin? Is that how you see that?
I would think that they made minimum speed, reset, got off the clock, and now it's just they threw a caution, and they're coming in having to put the tail back on. So
because the damage was the result of an earlier problem, they've met minimum speed and now just coming in for additional repair?
Yeah, he's not on the repair clock, but he has to have that tail on the back of the car in order to continue.
And points so important to this race team because they don't have a victory, and so they need to come in and repair, get back out, get as many points as they can. And we mentioned Chastain is in as well. What's going on there, Regan?
Well, the report from the team was an oil line. That's not necessarily the area that they're working in right now, Adam, but they said they think they have an oil line leaking or something through the right rear over there. Perhaps maybe rear end oil.
So frustrating.
Could be the rear end cooler that is kind of in that area of the car that has some lines.
You can see there's on the tailpiece of his car, it's very shiny in certain areas. That's probably gear fluid or oil of some sort that's been leaking out of that car. It kind of comes back around and gets on the tailpiece like that.
You look at Ross Chastain, spent so many years. Boy, that camera really shows it. But here's a driver that
tear off on that thing.
Spent so many years driving underfunded equipment. Got an opportunity last year with Chip Ganassi. Looked like everything was going to go in the right direction. And this was his big opportunity in the 10 today. And unfortunately, it looks like it's not going to work out. Disappointment for him. Jubilation for the 2 of race leader Tyler Reddick.
Oh, my gut's telling me bottom right now for this one. No one wants to be wrong, but hey, it's real easy. It's either going to be right or it's either going to be wrong. What are we going to do? All we can do is try. Well, I'm glad somebody's with me.
And that is the question when you're the leader here is, do I want the top or do I want the bottom? And it's usually fairly equal. Other tracks you go to, it's pretty obvious you want the top or the bottom. Here, it's 50-50. A lot of it depends on who's the cars in third and fourth and how good can they push. Is there any alliances with the cars in third and fourth from a teammate perspective? Those are the things you got to be thinking about when you pick the top or the bottom here. And it's so hard to pick the right lane and to be confident about it, but it's just part of it here.
Next Saturday afternoon, we're heading to the Monster Mile. Final round in the dash for cash. Top 4 finishers here today. Going to be eligible next Saturday for the $100,000. Our coverage on FS1, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And your teammate, Ryan Blaney, going to join Michael Waltrip and me to call the race.
I did not know that. That's awesome.
Was it 2 years ago, last fall? When was it that he gave the checkered flag to a kid? Won that race and went over and handed the checkered flag to someone?
That's a good move. It kind of started a trend to where other drivers have been doing that even. Yeah. So that's a pretty cool thing to see. Something unique and different.
So Reddick does take the inside lane. We talked about that. Briscoe outside of him. Then it's 3 cars from Joe Gibbs Racing, Bell, Earnhardt, and Jones. They've got more wins here than anybody with 5. But since they won here with Elliott Sadler in 2014, they've recorded 63 victories at 20 other tracks. I think they're kind of overdue, right, to get back to victory lane?
Well, they do have those 3 Gibbs cars up there, but when you look at Josh Williams in 6th and Brown in 7th and Labby in the 90 car there in 8th, I mean, those are guys, that's what Talladega brings the best of, are names that you don't see every week. It gives those guys an opportunity to compete, and they're making the best of it.
If you want to see Talladega erupt, Jeffrey Earnhardt winning would be huge. And how fun would that be to see?
Hey, and you mentioned LeBay and Williams. They are teammates in the 90 and 36, driving for Mario Gosselin. Maybe they can work together in that outside lane. 7 laps to go. It's all on the line at Talladega.
I'd say Tyler picked the right lane.
Top is clear by half.
Yeah, they got connected nice there on the restart, but the bumping rule really makes you have to release, and you see that outside lane kind of gets get formed up here a little bit later and get a better run.
Come back up 1 here. Come back up 1. Outside. On your bumper pushing.
That was a late block.
98 is clear in your mirror. 20 is 1 back behind him.
Black car in the outside lane is Earnhardt. Getting a push from Williams.
2 by 2, 1 lane higher here.
That's Bell down low.
3 wide here. 18 is closest to you. He is clear in your mirror. Half back. Keep him straight in line. Half lane down.
But based upon that last block that Tyler Reddick threw, he's pretty much willing to do whatever it takes, because that was about as tight of a block as you can cut it. You couldn't see the sunlight in between the two shadows.
And man, if they hooked each other right there, that whole field is crashed. Everyone is so tight right now. You see 4 wide back there in the pack a little bit.
Looking for his first win of the year and a bonus $100,000. But it's not going to be easy. Some great drivers behind him as they head to turn 3.
And you see Chase Briscoe able to get in there.
1 back here, inside lane's tightest to you. 98 got clear the 18 up 1. Back down half. Keep them straight in line here.
Now watch this as they come through the tri-oval. And keep an eye out for the start-finish line. And remember where that is for the final lap, in a non-traditional place at Talladega.
And you just see so much, I call it jabbing each other. Everyone is taking every little gap that's there, and here comes a crash.
That's Earnhardt. Got into the 86 to the 51 of Jeremy Clements. Timmy Hill in that as well.
Justin Allgaier.
And that's a product of him getting caught in the first crash, not by his own doings. And it puts you in the back, and your chances of getting in another crash when you're in the back with 5 to go or 10 to go at Talladega is very high.
Tough break for Alex LeBay.
He's gonna be sorry, we did all we could do.
And the window net is down for Justin Allgaier. His opportunity to win the $100,000 has come and gone. Earnhardt, significant damage on the right front for the 18. His first career victory, gonna have to wait.
And it looked like they were 4 wide, and it looked like Jeffrey just got loose up there. I'll have to wait for the replay.
Here you see the 4 wide. Oh, it's just so tight. You get a car right in your door like that, you're gonna get loose.
And there's just so many cars around him, there's nowhere to correct. And the car just got out from underneath him right there. And unfortunately for the guys on the outside, he had to come up the racetrack to try to catch it.
No wiggle room.
There's no wiggle room.
It's nice to have a little wiggle room every now and again.
Yeah, and Justin Allgaier, he was wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah. And I was just getting ready to say, despite the damage, he's coming back to the front. And if this doesn't happen, he may very well have gotten there.
You see earlier, Austin Cindric able to get and take advantage of a great opportunity to grab a couple spots. And once he loses that momentum from getting side drafted, he just gets put in the sucker hole, whatever you want to call it, to where he just starts to get used up from left and right and both sides, and you're just trying to keep control of your car. And it's a tough spot to be.
Still bottom 3. Still bottom 3. 35 in line with you. Gonna be bottom 4. Stay at the bottom. Get down, get down, get down, get down, get down. Caution's out. We're all good.
Well, look at him. He was just sideways coming off the corner. They have brought the cars back around, crossed the start-finish line. 4 laps to go. And the red flag is out as we clean up debris following our 8th incident of the afternoon. Top 5, Tyler Reddick, Christopher Bell, Austin Cindric, Chase Briscoe, and Gray Gaulding. We're back to Talladega in a moment. Talladega Superspeedway for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Our 8th caution led to our first red flag. It all started when Jeffrey Earnhardt got sideways off of turn 2, collected 4 or 5 other race cars. So 4 laps to go. We set under the red with Tyler Reddick leading. And when you think about the day that he's had to bounce back from, pretty hard to imagine that he's out front, but it's been that kind of day at Talladega, and right now all the money is on the line, quite literally for Reddick, who's going for the $100,000 via the Dash for Cash. You see Allgaier heading back to the garage area. For a driver, you're in this situation. How do you reset your mind and prepare yourself for the most important laps of the day?
Well, I think you're really trying to figure out, if you're Tyler Reddick, what lane you're going to restart on the restart in, and I think a lot of that depends on who's behind you, but it does seem like the bottom lane has been the lane of choice to get going, but a lot of that depends on how far do you want to push that bumping rule and who gets connected first.
Yeah, we heard after that last restart that they had that restart under review. NASCAR had it under review, so that might be the limit. You know, right. It's hard to know where the limit is until a call is made, but I feel like that was probably right at it. And, you know, that's the hardest part because he had Christopher Bell pushing him. Well, now Christopher Bell is going to be next to him, inside or outside, depending on what lane he picks. So now he's got to make the decision again, but he's got new players behind him.
That's what I was going to say. It's not just do you want to be inside or outside, as you talked about earlier. It's who's going to be behind me and who does that partner with the guy to my inside or outside decide, depending on which way I decide to go.
And it goes deeper than that. You know, you look at the third and fourth car in that lane and who those cars are. So we've got some new players back there that these guys aren't used to racing with on a week-to-week basis, and how good are their pushes going to be, and who controls those gaps the best on the restart to help make their lane go.
And what I see out of this is there's some drivers up there that this is their chance of winning. This is their chance of getting into the playoffs. There might not be another shot the rest of the year that they have to try to win this thing.
That's a great point.
You're going to see some all or nothing moves on this racetrack to see if they can get themselves into the playoffs in a win. That means so much to race teams these days.
I don't know how this is possible, but Tyler Reddick says on the radio that he's bored under these circumstances.
I was just bored. I want someone to talk to. I'm out here all alone by myself.
I don't know how you can be bored.
Well, I guess let's talk to him. Hey Tyler, this is the Fox Sports booth, and they said that you said you were bored on the radio, so we figured we'd just dial you up and see, is it hot in the car? Sounds like you might be talking about losing a couple pounds. Maybe tell us what lane you're going to choose on the restart, and what's going on in there.
A whole lot of nothing, that's the problem. But it's been a lot of fun so far out this race. I've done a lot of wrong. I've done some right. Fortunately, right now, I'm still doing a little bit of right. But just trying to figure out with that wreck there, who's going to be pushing, not necessarily in the lane behind us, but the third lane and so on and so forth. So just, you know, try to do everything we can to get the best motors behind us. So just thinking all that through right now before I decide which lane I want to go with.
Hey, Tyler, it's Joey up here in the booth. I tell you, when we were watching you pick off a few cars here towards the later part of this race, you were able to, when cars are single file against the wall, use that side draft to build a hole, make a pass down into turn one, and come back up and do the next lap, be able to take the lead, doing a very similar move. That was really, I was just wondering how you learned that. How do you, that was pretty good.
Hey, man, when the car gets a run, you go with it. It's winding down, and it's time to get aggressive. I got some damage on the right side. It seems like actually people can side draft me better, more effectively, but it also seems like I can side draft people a little bit harder too. So the damage I thought hurt us for a while there, but it may not be a bad thing.
Well, I can tell you right now, if you win this race, the right side of your car looks really cool. It's beat up pretty good, and it's got a lot of really cool looking tape on the right side of it. So you've got a cool die-cast win. So why don't you go ahead and take advantage of it?
Yeah, I can think of another guy that drove for RCR that won on a plate race that tore the right side up. Worked out pretty good for him too.
Absolutely, man. Well, you're doing a great job, and good luck.
Thanks, guys.
You know, to put this all in perspective, he's had so many top fives this year. Won the championship, changed teams, and he's a player once again. Speaks to his talent, and he's 4 laps away from his first win at Talladega. Just about time to go racing once again at Talladega, but here's how we got to this point. All started down at Talladega. We're getting ready to go racing. Down at Daytona, the big win went to Michael Annett. It was Christopher Bell who delivered at Atlanta. Out west, it was Kyle Busch back-to-back at Vegas and Phoenix. It's the Game of Thrones version of the NASCAR Xfinity Series in 2019. Cole Custer got his first win of the year at California. Busch got him again at Texas. In Bristol, Bell won the race, won the $100,000. In Richmond, the win went to Cole Custer. And who will it be today? And Kevin, you admitted earlier you've been watching the Game of Thrones, huh?
No. I admitted earlier that I had seen one episode of the Game of Thrones, and it was actually this week. So, you know, I feel more like that dog when I was watching the Game of Thrones episode. I felt like going to sleep.
Did you watch from the first episode, or did you go from like the most recent one?
No, we watched the very first episode. So. That's the only one I've watched.
Yeah, I haven't watched any of them, so.
So right now we got 4 laps to go, and we understand we're a couple of minutes away from wrapping up this red flag. And when we're done here, it's off to Houston. You think David Starr's an Astros fan? He's running 10th right now. He's a Houston native. The Astros coming up next, hosting the Cleveland Indians. That's part 1 of our Major League Baseball doubleheader here on FS1.
Well, he's got the right colors.
Yeah, those are.
The Whataburger colors are kind of Houston Astro orange.
And now they're firing the engines up here, and we're going to probably have a 2-lap shootout to end regulation. And we look back at how Tyler Reddick was able to get the lead, started on the front row, and he had a whole lot happen in between, fellas.
He has. He's had a great day, and right here you've seen him. He's been pushed on pit road. He's run into the wall. He's almost been lapped. He's had it all happen today.
He's done a lot. He's had that right side of the car falling apart. There's all that tape you were talking about to him on the radio. Running over a jack stand, of all things. There you see it spit out after making a few laps. And then this pass to take the lead. What a great move. And to take a few of his friends with him.
He put that on the edge because he was really close to that double yellow line.
Now,
he was close.
Second, Adam. Everything that Tyler Reddick does is on the edge.
Okay, that's fair.
Sitting up here, I have learned that this year, but he is much more in control of everything than he been than he was last year at the beginning of the year.
I'll say this, though. The edge for him usually is out by the wall. This time, the edge when he made that pass was down at the out-of-bounds line, right?
That's true. I remember watching Miami racing for the championship. He's running right up next to the wall. He had a huge lead. I was like, why doesn't he just give himself a little bit of a gap off the wall just in case he makes a mistake? And he just goes 100% all the time, and it really paid a reward for him last year. And I think he's continued that aggressive nature to continue to bring him success.
I'm assuming that when they come around here, they'll be given the 1 to go, and we'll be at 3 remaining then. So we'll probably go green with 2 laps left. And here are the players. We've talked so much about Reddick. Bell looking for his first plate victory. It would be his 3rd win of the season. Austin Cindric has never won. He's up there in the mix. Chase Briscoe only 1 victory, and it came in another wild card race last fall on the Roval at Charlotte. Then we get into some guys that are going to try and pull the upset. Gray Gaulding, who's driving for Bobby Dotter. And by the way, Bobby sent me a note earlier, said send condolences to Carl Wegner and their family. He passed away recently, so we want to do that. But Gray's got a real shot to win this thing. Brandon Brown up there, a family-funded team. How great would that celebration be?
Well, I think when you look at Gray Gaulding and Brandon Brown, Gray has been up there pretty much all day, right from the beginning. They qualified well. Brandon didn't qualify as well, has worked his way from the back of the pack and kept himself in contention. And you guys talked about it in qualifying. You said he would be in contention today by the time the end of this race rolled around, and they've both done a great job.
Don't see anyone pitting this late in the race, and no takers for pit road, not to be surprised. And you know, obviously I think they'll be coming to the 1 to go here, and this is where the decision is made for Tyler Reddick. Top or bottom? Where does he want to be on this restart?
Mention those problems that Ross Chastain had. We had shown him on pit road. He went to the garage. He is out. So is Justin Allgaier. Only 2 guys left when it comes to those going for the dash for cash money. Tyler Reddick, Austin Cindric, both in the top 5. Earnhardt involved in the crash that brought out the red flag, so he is in for a little damage repair. And the 1 to go has been given. So the next time around, we'll go green, and it'll be 2 laps to finish it, as long as we don't get another caution that would send us to overtime.
And it is going to be a shove fest. It's going to be some haymakers being thrown here. Big bumps, big pushes. No one's going to lay into that back bumper softly anymore. It's going to be, they got to run. It's going to be a big hit, and it's all going to be all about controlling your car when that happens. And these pushes on these restarts right here from the top or the bottom lane is going to be the difference of a car getting out front and trying to take control of these last couple laps. It may not happen. They may be side by side all the way to the end. And even if you do get out the front, you know, you're still going to have to block left and right to try to keep them behind you.
What's Reddick signaling there? Hand out the window. Was he trying to send a message to Cindric behind him? Did you guys see that?
I don't know what that means, do you?
With Tyler Reddick, I don't know. You know, he's had so much fun today in the car and listening to him on the radio. He's having a good time and just loves to race the car. So he might be hot. He might be, you know, telling him to I'm going to wave to tell you when I'm going to go. So who knows?
You ever have someone just wave to you on, like down, and you don't really know why, and you're like, I don't know what that means, you know, as you're coming to the restart, like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
You've been watching them all day long. Who do you like here with 2 laps remaining?
I think a lot of it's going to come down to this push here on the restart. So, you know, I think Reddick has been the most aggressive of the guys that are up there, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be the guy that comes out on top.
You're going to see some big moves by some of these cars behind them too. A lot of them looking for their first wins or one of their first wins, and I think that those moves from behind them are going to be some desperate moves, and they're going to be interesting to watch.
Remember this: once they get back to the white, next flag will end the race. Got one out of line. Reddick on that inside lane, and here we go to finish it at Talladega.
And the bottom line gets the push here. He's going to shove out Tyler Reddick. Can Austin Cindric follow with him? No, he can't.
Don't get too far out now. One back. They're even behind you. 20 has the advantage by half.
And this is when the runs get really big, when the cars get spread out like that, and then they form in the 2 or 3 cars back and get a run on the leader.
That's Cindric down to the inside of Christopher Bell. Bell getting a push from Chase Briscoe.
They're cover both lanes. They're locking back together here. 20's going to have a big run coming here, but the 22 is still inside of them. Back up 1. 20 is clearing your mirror now. Cover half low.
That's where the spotter helped a lot. He saw where the top was tighter and that lane was going to be moving.
Through the tri-oval to the white flag. 1 lap to go, sponsored by Credit One Bank.
Half. Keep him straight line here. Straight line.
Bell getting aggressive. That red and yellow car is Gray Golding trying to pull a huge upset at Talladega. He's up to second. Here comes Chase Briscoe in the 98.
Don't get too far in front. 98 is not clear.
All of it behind the 2 of Tyler Reddick, who continues to block. Golding to the outside. Reddick goes high.
Keep him at your bumper. 08 is clear behind. Keep him at your bumper. Back down 1. Half back here. Next 2 are single file here. 3/4 back. Watch for him to lay back here. Half back here. He can't get a run with what he's doing. The 20 is 1 back behind.
Remember the start-finish line all the way down at the end of the tri-oval. Reddick out front. He went into the wall early. From wreck to victory lane. Tyler Reddick, a winner at Talladega.
I'm going to tell you guys what, Tyler Reddick and his spotter just did a phenomenal job. I mean, those are really, really aggressive moves, and those 2 deserve a lot of credit. That was awesome.
That was amazing.
Family 1. Good job, boys. Let's go.
$100,000 for these guys as well.
He's the reigning champion. Went to a different team in the offseason, from Junior Motorsports to Richard Childress Racing.
I know what to say. You're winners. And like you say, Tyler Reddick switching teams, and the way that he has come out of the box this year, he's been a contender every week. And, you know, we talk about his aggressive style, but this year he's making it work without tearing the cars up.
Would you believe this? First time Richard Childress Racing has won an Xfinity race at Talladega.
Really? Did not believe that.
It's also the first win of the year for Reddick, who has locked himself into the playoffs. And the hot streak continues to begin 2009 as he opens defense of his title. And it's his 2nd victory on a plate track. Got the season opener last year at Daytona.
Well, it may be the first time that that Richard Childress Racing has won at Talladega, but I can promise you that 2 car in the Xfinity Series has a pretty rich tradition.
How about you? I'm a big fan of burnouts, so I like watching them. He can't see it.
He hasn't been able to see the whole race.
That's true.
A win, a trophy, and $100,000 today at Talladega. All about Tyler Reddick. A red flag with 4 to go. A 2-lap shootout to win it at Talladega, and Tyler Reddick delivered.
Delivered is an understatement, and he and his spotter did an absolutely amazing job of keeping the lead, playing the lanes, pulling the blocks, and some of them, Joey, were really, really close.
Really close. You look at the block there from the 98 to Greg Galding, and then Greg Galding gets a good run, and he's able to make that block as well. He's defending off so many different runs coming at him, and that's just an amazing job by the driver and the spotter working together, talking him through it, and having the faith in your spotter to get you to this point. And right about here, he had kind of everything under control.
And not to sell it short, Greg Galding did an absolutely amazing job as well. I mean, I really thought going into the middle of turn 1 and 2 that he was actually going to take the lead, but still a great run.
Career best finish for Greg Galding. What an afternoon, Matt.
And it started out with his father, Dwayne, buying him a mini bike and then a go-kart. At what point did you think this could be mine when you're going down the backstretch?
Man, I timed it perfect. You know, I was kind of a lone ranger out there. I think I just had to earn a lot of people's respect. But I tell you one thing, I told my guys when we came here, I left it all out on the table, man. I did as much as I could to get beside him. But when the 98 came up, he kind of blocked my run. And it was, man, it was so close. But I can't say enough about Panini, my family, my friends, all these race fans. You know, every single lap I get in this car, I drive my heart out, and today it almost worked out. But a lot of hard work, a lot of great partners, pure NASCAR race experience, worldwide safety consulting. It's man, what a day, baby! Talladega, let's go.
It was like a receiving line at the car. So many drivers, Regan, coming up to congratulate him.
Well, a big celebration about to come here. One of the most excited drivers that I have seen pull into victory lane in a very long time. Tyler Reddick gets the job done today at Talladega. $100,000, water bottles flying, checks flying. Tyler, this is one of the most Tyler Reddick-esque wins I think I've ever seen. This race car is absolutely destroyed on a super speedway. You were adamant that you wanted spotter Derek Nealand to be on the roof for you this season. How big of a part was that in what you just accomplished today?
Well, he did a hell of a job. You looks like you got some stuff in your eyes. His eyes are burning, but hell of a job. All our guys are rolling Rich Childress Racing Chevrolet. Derek did so good up there all day long. I tried to take us out of this race so many times, and somehow we got back in the mix, got back to the lead, and I'm worried about your eyes, but we got a good day.
An exciting day for Tyler Reddick, and yes, the Gatorade burns. I can confirm that.
Someone get Regan a towel down there in victory lane. What a day, what a finish. Huge win for Tyler Reddick.
Well, here's the thing I love about what happened today is the fans really got to see the enthusiasm and excitement that go with Tyler Reddick. He's exciting to watch on the racetrack. He's fun on the radio, and he's fun outside of the car. So I think you're going to see this kid just continue to get better.
Oh, for sure. And, you know, Talladega impressed once again. So much things going on. You never know who's going to win this race until you get to the start-finish line. So many close calls. How we didn't, well, say we, I wasn't out there. How they didn't crash those last 2 laps, I have no idea.
The clock is ticking. My watch says 4:03 Eastern. You guys have 27 minutes to get down there, change, put on your helmet, and qualify. I think you go out 12th, Logano. You go out 19th, Harvick. Is that right? Okay, you can watch qualifying for tomorrow's Geico 500 on Fox. It happens at 4:30 Eastern time. Next up on FS1, first of our Major League Baseball doubleheader, Houston and Cleveland. Congratulations, Tyler Reddick. He wrecked, he came back, and won at Talladega, and he's a winner for the first time. Next, it's baseball. Let's go to Houston, the Astros and Indians.